Attention, please be advised. The following episode contains spoilers. Don't say we didn't warn you.
Gimmelis.
Gimmelas.
Nerd On.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Nerd On, the podcast you didn't need but deserve, where all levels of you nerds are welcome here.
All of
Thank
them?
you, every single one.
It is what's up,
See-
not what is up
What?
on the script. I'm
Excuse
kidding.
me?
Oh my god.
This is why I don't want to invite
It doesn't
Tom
matter,
places.
Tom. You know why?
All levels of grammar are wrong.
Because we're celebrating today.
We are celebrating.
again. One could say.
Celebrate good times.
This is why Tom smells like a
The celebration continues.
This is part 2
Yes.
of our bingeable 1-year anniversary mega event.
If you haven't heard part 1, get the fuck out of here. Go
Yeah.
back.
Or you
Put
can
it out, you
stay
fools.
and listen to the whole episode if you want. Maybe they don't
it's
like
gotta be in
Fellowship.
order.
You gotta listen in order.
Because we're gonna reference it. It's gonna be.
This isn't
confusing.
Star Wars. There's no chop up way to watch it. It's just an
No
order.
shirtless Kylo here.
It's
It's
upsetting.
really unfortunate. Yeah.
But yeah, before we get started, we have some business. I think.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you in part by our patrons over at Patreon.
Patreon. I said it too.
Really. Thank you, Caitlin.
You're welcome,
It's
Josh.
a team effort.
After we gave Tom shit for cutting him off.
It's funny because Josh
Because I
made so
knew
much
that
attempt to
Tom
not look at
wasn't
me.
going to do it, so I had to.
Okay.
Wow. Why
So
is that
thank
the
you,
thing?
patrons.
Because
Thank
I
you.
breed
Thank
evil
you.
into this world.
It's fucking worm tongue over here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Now we can continue.
What,
name's
what are we
Corey.
talking about?
It's especially
I'm
important, though, because
Caitlin.
without them, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
This is
True.
true.
52,
Oh my
53
goodness.
episodes in.
52 or 53. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either one, we wouldn't be here. So,
Yeah.
take your
So
pick.
if you want to learn more about that, head up that crispy Patreon.
Yeah.
Crispy Patreon.
You can
Crispy.
learn more
Crispy
at
crunchy.
nerdon.tv.
Krispy Kremes.
Nerdon.tv has it all. Social media, Patreon, all the goods. So what are we talking about?
2 Towers, baby.
2 Towers?
Lord of the Rings.
And just so we
Lord of
know
the
who
G-string.
all is talking,
I'm Corey.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Josh.
Ali,
This is Tom.
All right, we did it.
we did it.
We got
real.
we got to it.
We got through
That's amazing
everything.
to me. I don't know if we need to say this. Spoilers, obviously.
Directed by Peter Jackson. Once Upon a Time.
Spoilers.
Yeah, lots of spoilers.
Smells
If you
by
haven't
Viggo
seen it,
Mortensen.
First of all, go
To
fucking
clarify,
see
we're
it.
talking about the movies that came out.
These movies
by New
won
Line
so
Cinema.
many awards.
Go
It's
dust
insane.
off that VHS player. Dust off that VHS.
Pop in your
Put it
extended edition DVDs. I know
They're
you
like
got 'em.
$25 on Amazon right now.
I'm pretty sure that the VHS only came in the little cardboard sleeves.
Did they have
didn't-
VHSs for
They didn't
those?
have the yes. I remember.
Wow.
Because my parents
Wow.
have that, and that's the
You
only
were
way I
almost
watched them.
violent
when I was
about
young.
that.
There were 3.
Like 3?
There were 3.
Like per movie, though?
Yeah, per movie.
Well, these aren't, I don't think that they
Wow.
had the extended on
No.
VHS.
No, they did not.
Absolutely
Of
not.
That would
course
have been
not.
5.
Here's your
Yeah.
5 tapes for the first one.
Yeah.
The other
Yeah.
5's in the mail. Can we start with initial reactions to this film, if you
So
remember?
2
them?
Towers.
Yeah, 2 Towers specifically. We're a year later. It's a year after the first one comes out.
Literally
we're back
a year
in
later,
theaters.
which is crazy.
Now I'm 12. So yeah, who wants to start this one?
Oh, me.
Tom does.
Because I was telling Ollie this while we're making that sweet ice cold coffee
Mhm.
for me. The reason why I remember I was like, why didn't I just not like these movies as much as everyone else did when they were younger? Like, what the fuck? And we've talked about me being younger than everyone here,
Yeah.
but I was like, why did I just not like it? Why did I see it on USA and just be like, nah? Like, why did I do that? Like when
Because
it
you
was
saw it
watched
on
it on USA.
well, no. I watched it in
That's why.
theaters, and I watched it like I seen the VHS, but I remember on USA it would be like, I don't want to watch this. Like I was like, why? And I remember because when I was younger, I forget. So you're 12, and I'm 2
Yeah.
years younger, so I'm 10, and I'm coming off of Dragon Ball Z and all this other bullshit, right? High octane shit. And then I remember this movie.
High octane.
You want to call Dragon Ball Z a high octane when it had 10 episodes of just sitting there during the
Okay,
thing?
no.
do you
There's
call
10 episodes
Legolas
of nothing,
sliding
but
down
10
the
episodes
stairs?
of also screaming. But I'm saying like this, where like a lot of this film is, at least for the first half, is a lot of whispery dialogue. And I remember as a kid, like that just did not keep me lured in. And I get it, because I was like, oh, that's why. Because when I watched it, we just watched it today,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh, this is where all this plot's coming in. It's like, and I get it. And you get the emotional like heaviness with all the dialogue that's happening between characters, like between Gandalf and Aragorn, and then Aragorn and Arwen. And I'm like, oh, but
or
then
Èowyn, whichever one you want to talk about.
But then they're speaking whispery to each other. They're just like, it's so heavy. So I was like, it's intimate moments. And I was like, oh shit. That's
And when you
why.
were 10, you didn't have
I had
time
no
for that.
I didn't have any patience as a
Yeah.
kid. I was
Yeah.
fucking had ants in my pants or some bullshit.
Well, also, like, they weren't screaming at each other, so you couldn't understand them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That makes
Thanks,
sense.
Dragon Ball Z. You ruined
Yeah.
everything for me.
So
Yeah.
your initial reaction was, this sucks.
As a kid, but then watching it as an adult, I was like, it's just like we said before with the first part, which you would listen to now. Everything still holds up really well. Like all the CGI isn't overly done, or like it's just future proof, so that it's made that you can watch it again years later, 10 years later.
Yeah.
One thing specifically that stuck out to me though was when they're in this swamp area, there's flames here and there. I saw the flame above the swamp, and I was like, I want to see more of that. That
Oh,
would
yeah.
be cool. But then they don't.
The lights of the dead.
Yeah, but I was like, it kind of reminded me of like the Disneyland effect where they do the light shows and they have the flames above
yeah.
the water. I'm like,
Mhm.
woo! But they didn't have any more of that. But it was fine. But yeah, it's-
Visual spectacle.
You know, I think the
Is that
first
what
one had a
you-
bigger visual spectacle to me.
This
than
was
one.
more. This is the Empire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is where everything goes to shit, but not really.
Yeah.
Not really. They kind of have some good parts with it,
Yeah,
where it's like,
Well-
oh, triumphant win.
had some good parts in Empire too.
Yeah, of course. But it, like, end of Empire was like everything is to shit. Everything sucks. He lost his hand, lost hand and his hand.
Wow.
So, anyways, that's me. Core.
I'm next. I mean, again, went with my dad, because this was like our thing. We
Shout out
would
to your
go
dad.
see the Lord of the Rings movies, and I again was completely in love. By this time, I was already reading the books.
So a year later, after you watched the first movie, you were like, I'm reading these bad boys.
Yeah, no, I started reading it the night after I saw the first one.
Yeah. So yeah, within a
and
year.
I had purposefully, I don't know why I did this, but I purposefully like slowed down so that I wouldn't read too much before the second movie came out.
Mm.
Because
Yeah.
there's something about me when I know, I did this with Fight Club too. Like I didn't read the book till after I saw the movie because I really like picturing, I don't know why.
Giving a visual.
Yeah, like it helps me get a visual and it immerses me more in the book, and I seem to read it a lot quicker, which I did with like the first one because I was like, yes, I remember this. I like reading this. This is too much description, but that's fine. Like
Same
so
rock.
at this point I hadn't really read too far in. So when they started off with Gandalf dying again, I was like, why? Why show me that? But
Why?
I mean, I walked out of the theater so fucking pumped. It's unreal. Like this is, I said in the last
12-year-old
episode, I'll
boner.
say in all three of these, this is one of my favorite trilogies of all time.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, it is. It is my favorite trilogy of all time. So, yeah, I was pumped, and I've watched it every year since. Kaylin.
Deceased Balrog.
Yeah, that was pretty upsetting. Yeah, it ruined the whole movie for me.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding. No, I love this movie. There's just so many great moments. I kept looking over and being like, this is my favorite part. This is my favorite part. This is my favorite
These
part.
are all
We
the
all said
Gimli
that too. I was
parts,
like,
by
oh, I
the
love
way.
this line. Oh, this line's great.
Yeah.
I always laugh at this line.
There were so many great things in it that, like, I like the movie.
I like the movie.
I only do it to annoy Tom, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
I think that's what everyone does on the show, is just to annoy me.
try to annoy
Yeah.
Tom. Yeah, I'd say
No,
that's
a little.
Kind of.
A lot.
yes, 100%.
How'd you know?
Yep, that's
Sweet baby Josh.
That's Josh talk now.
Sweet baby, Josh.
Josh, you
Actually,
go.
you know what? I just remembered when we first started, the thing that used to just bother Tom, and I would just look straight into his eyes and be like,
Oh.
"You can find me at just
Just
Josh and
Josh and
ya." Don't do that anymore.
Yeah,
Aw.
proud of you.
I've been a little bit happier ever since.
Mildly happier every day.
I came along.
Initial reactions, Two Towers. Again, as I stated in the first episode, I saw all these midnight releases. They were still doing those.
Yeah.
And I would be in the line, go to the,
Before Hollywood Video?
yes, before
Oh.
Hollywood Video. I was still in high school when these came out.
Wow. Long ago
So,
when the
yeah.
pyramids were still young.
I mean, I remember being super pumped about this movie. To me, I had kind of a opposite view of it. I think that this is like when shit starts to get real. So I feel like there's a lot more intense stuff that happens in this. This is kind of,
Wait, opposite of me of like it's
Because
more,
I thought you were saying that the first one was more intense than the second one.
No,
in
I'm
terms
saying
It was
of
more
the spectacle.
visual.
I say the first one's more visually spectacular, but this one's much more like story driven between people, but also like this one ends on like a pretty high note where like both major wars kind of major battles like end up in wins for the good guys.
Yeah.
The only bad thing is like, what the fuck is Gollum gonna do?
Yeah.
That's it.
I just
Yeah.
feel like with the battles, this one is far more like visually.
There's a lot more action in this one.
Yeah.
What he said?
Where in like Fellowship of the Ring, it ends off with like, they fucking lost these two guys. This guy's dead, and then fucking Sam needs to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but then they
And-
got that line, let's hunt some orc. And I'm like, oh,
So good.
let's fucking hunt
you're-
some orc then.
Yes.
All right.
It does have those moments of like call to action or whatever that you want, those high notes. But
Yeah.
Fellowship definitely was kind of like, okay, we kind of like had this weird scramble, and then like we're left in separate
pieces.
pieces. So I can see why.
Yeah.
All the pieces are slowly coming together.
Mhm.
So I dug this one. I was pumped.
Man.
Ollie Ollie Oxenfree.
So for me, I mean, I saw this in theaters when it came out several times, and then even more times once it hit DVD back in the day with the extended editions. And yeah, I mean, you can be like jokey / elitist about it, but I do believe the extended editions are like the version,
Yeah.
the
I think
true version of the movie.
They're intended. They're the
And
intended.
They're the
version.
intended version, but also like the theatrical versions are not like Peter Jackson still fully is behind the theatrical cuts.
Mhm.
That's why these are not called director's cuts.
Yeah.
Because he fashioned them for the runtime that he needed to for theaters.
100%.
Both of them are director's cut. It's what you're saying, essentially.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Everything's a director cut. So for me, this was a huge movie. And then it didn't hit me until the extended editions where it became my favorite of the trilogy. And I guess by default, since Lord of the Rings is my favorite 3 movies of all time, Two Towers is technically my favorite movie of all time, apparently. So
You and me both,
that's
brother.
where that falls. For me,
So
it was,
that's where that is.
and the reasoning behind it is because it has such an impossible task right off the bat, of being that middle child, that middle movie of you can't have this awesome warm beginning and you can't have this like super overly triumphant
And
end with a nice bow on top of it. But it manages to overcome all those obstacles in a really great way with just like we were saying, lots of awesome, amazing smaller moments like
Mhm.
between the different characters and the different sort of adventures that are kind of going parallel.
Yeah.
And it features a lot of my favorite, like just favorite sequences, favorite scenes, favorite moments of all of them. And I think especially like with the Battle of Helms Deep, it all comes together like really well.
Yeah.
And I
that
think
slow motion shot of Aragorn opening the doors all wet.
that's my friend's Paige's
Yeah, it's good.
Check, please.
favorite scene. Shout out to Paige.
Shout out to Paige.
So Paige,
Yeah.
Page me.
But yeah, that's
it?
my initial reaction. And
Um,
we'll talk more
and I'm
about
sticking to it.
those details. Yeah.
well, Corey
yes.
jumped right into initial reactions. This is a movie. This is something we could rate.
Oh, great. Guess
That's
that
why I was
girl.
like, fuck.
It's gonna be me.
We keep messing up that every time.
You think it's gonna be me?
Well, I guess we guess now, right?
Did we do it on the first one?
We did.
Okay.
I kind of
did?
added myself there,
I was the
guess.
grump.
Oh, that's
I
right.
s-
Because we got into a long discussion about
oh, yeah,
sequels.
we totally did.
I still think it's Tom.
Yeah, it's probably Tom.
Well, then I'll just guess. It can't be Ollie, so it has to be Corey.
Yeah,
He just said. Okay.
He said Fellowship of the Ring was his favorite. Yes,
I did.
he did. So I'm using research memory.
Research memory.
I'm using my memories for research.
Random access memories. Research and yeah. But yeah, so Corey's my vote, but everyone's votes against me. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Josh, right? Tom? You pick Tom?
Tom.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, you pick
Okay,
Tom.
cool. So does that lead us into
Brief.
brief synopsis of the
Brief.
extended editions?
Brief.
Of a 4.5 to 5 hour
Extended
movie.
edition of
So,
Brief Reaction.
y'all ready for this?
12-year-old Corey is in the theater.
Jesus.
What happens? We open on Gandalf. Fly, you fools. Falling, 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 falling.
Oh my God.
Falling
Brief.
from further. Frodo wakes up.
Sticky
It
floors.
was a dream.
Was it?
Lambus bread. More lambus bread. Great. We're doing fine. By the way, what's up? There's Gollum. Sting, you've seen this sword before, haven't you? And he's like, yeah, I fucking have. So they put the rope on his neck. It burns him.
It's uncanny.
What?
It just sounds so like him.
Yeah. They put the rope on his neck. It burns because elven magic is dope as shit. And he's like,
It'll
look,
probably burn me.
we need his help. We don't know where we're going. Sam, we've been walking in circles in this forest for like fucking ever. Sam's like, no, he's going to kill us in our sleep. Frodo's like, he ain't going to do that, but like legit, he's going to try to. And he's like, I need you to swear on something. And he's like, I swear on the precious. So then he
There we
swears
go.
on the precious and they take the rope off him. And he's like, thank you. I'm totally going to kill you. Cut to Merry and Pippin. They're captured by the Uruk-hai from the first film. But they're being followed by Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. One of them picks up man flesh on the wind, so they start moving faster. Pip hears this, and he bites off his little leaf from the Fellowship, throws it on the ground. Aragorn's like, they've picked up pace due to this rock, I can tell. And so then they start running, and Gimli's like, I'm not built for this. We're very dangerous in short distances. So then they go off, and they take the Merry and Pip. The Uruk-hai take Merry and Pip to a campsite where they need to rest because they've been running all day from Manflesh. And it turns out they are on the edge of Fangorn Forest. They try to eat, a few orcs try to eat Merry and Pip, and the Uruk-hai are like, back off. Because
We
they're
got a
starving.
job.
We haven't had anything but maggoty bread for 3 stinking days. Yeah, why can't we have some meat? What about them? They're
Corey's
fresh.
favorite line.
Yeah.
That is 3 of my favorite lines in a row right there. And so they start a brawl. In the mix of things, Merry and Pip try to escape, and then a big old horse comes because the riders of Rohan are there, and it looks like they got all stomped out. Sad.
They wipe out their Uruk-hai.
Yeah.
There they.
So then we cut to back to Frodo and Sam, and they're going through the marshes, and they're like, I guess I can kind of trust him. I don't really know. And Gollum has this moment where Smeagol tells Gollum to go away and never come back.
Yeah.
And he kind of does, because Frodo's like, look, we share something. I need your help, whatever. I'm going to treat you nice. And he does. He treats Gollum nice.
Mhm.
Probably the most kind he's ever been treated since he killed his brother. And so, yeah, he tells Gollum, quote unquote, to go away. And he's actually leading him there. And they go through the Dead Marsh, which is where the big old battle from the first film was. Frodo gets all hypnotized and falls in. Smeagol saves him, which is like a big deal because he's like, oh shit, he could have just let me die and taken the ring. But no, he doesn't. So then we cut back to Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas are surrounded in the Riddermark. What do a man, an elf, and a dwarf have in the Riddermark? That whole joke. They tell him that they wiped out all the orc, left nothing
That
living.
thing.
So they go to check out, Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas go to check out where all the riders of Rohan went and killed all the orc, and they find the belt all burnt up. And Aragorn breaks his toe, kicking a helmet at the camera. And then they decide to go into Fangorn Forest, and we find out that Merry and Pip are alive in Fangorn Forest.
Dun-dun.
And an ant grabs him, Treebeard, and he says, little orcs. And they're like, no, we're halflings. He's like, I believe you're orcs. The White Wizard will tell me. And he gets thrown down. He throws Merry and Pip down at the feet of the White Wizard. Cut to Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas. Gimli's making fun of the trees. They don't like it. So he's like, beautiful forest. It's beautiful. Don't worry about it. And then, yes?
You're missing a third of the story where Carl Urban's character's involved.
Oh, I'm getting to it.
Okay.
I'm getting to it. It's not quite in order of the movie
Exactly.
because it
Although,
jumps
like,
back and forth a million times. I don't think I'd
It's
ever
like
be able
3
to keep track.
storylines
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on.
So they find the wizard. The White Wizard approaches, and Legolas is like, let's kill him. And then everyone's like, don't say anything. Don't let him say a word. He'll put a spell on us because he's a witch. Burn him. They turn around and they shoot their weapons. And then he's like, fuck out of here. Get the fuck out. No. Let me burn your sword. And they're like, oh shit, Saruman's going to kill us. And it's a really cool thing because they use Christopher Lee's voice mixed with Gandalf the White.
A
And
wild.
you find out
A wild Gandalf appears.
you find out he killed the Balrog and died, but
He
was
killed Caitlyn
sent,
and died.
he was sent back
Mhm,
because he
that's what
had
happens.
quote unquote unfinished business to do. And there's a whole thing you can read about that.
Welcome to
Actually,
Ghost
it's
Dad.
my
Uh,
spirit
and
taking over Gandalf.
They're like, oh,
Yeah.
we thought you were Saruman. And he's like, I am Saruman, or how he should have been. Gandalf the Grey. That's what they used to call me. I'm Gandalf the White now, and I'm way less fun. So
What is this weed?
we got to go to Rohan and save the king because he's under the spell from Saruman because Grima Wormtongue is a piece of shit. So they get there and they're like,
Yes.
give us all your weapons. And he's like, you wouldn't take a walking stick from an old man, would you? And he's like, no, I guess not. And then Grima's like, take his fucking staff. He's a wizard. And then Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli are beating people up while Gandalf's like, I'm just going to walk. and then he takes Theoden and he banishes Saruman out of his mind, and he Benjamin Buttons the fuck up, and he looks great. And his daughter Èowyn is there, and he's like, Dad, my brother's dead. And he's like, oh, that sucks. Uncle? I got to bury my son.
It's uncle.
Uncle.
What's that?
Èowyn.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Uncle.
His son's dead, though.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo,
he's like really dead.
I got to bury my son. No parent should bury their son. Truth, though. And then they're all like, we got to go to Helm's Deep because Saruman's coming. His army's coming. He's got all the white hand on his face. It sucks. So they go to Helm's Deep. Meanwhile, Merry and Pip are still with all the trees, and they're like, we've decided that you're not orcs. And they're like, fucking great. What about Saruman? And they're like, easy, we'll get there. Cut back to Frodo and Sam and Gollum, and they've separated, and they've gotten captured by Faramir, Boromir's brother. And they're like, we don't trust you. What did I say?
No, I said Boromir.
Oh, I was like, I thought I said Boromir.
No.
They get captured. They're going to kill Gollum. Frodo stops him, and they're like, you know what? We don't trust you. We're going to take you and the ring to Gondor. And they're like, you can't do that. And they're like, tough shit. Then we cut back again. We're at Helm's Deep, y'all. We're setting up for a fight. The elves are now here. They're going to help us.
It's
this
raining.
Is awesome. This is probably... Real quick side tangent. Helm's Deep, probably one of the coolest on-screen battles I've ever seen in a movie before.
Yeah.
Peter Jackson cameo.
Yep.
In that as well? I don't remember that.
He throws something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that battle doesn't go great.
Something like crazy, like,
They get overpowered pretty quick. Even though they fight like fucking fiends, there's just so many orcs.
There's a
one,
advanced technology.
I was going to say the one Urukai gets through with the bomb because
Olympian?
they can't. Because he's just like, what up? I'm going to get hit 4 or 5. I'm going to Boromir the shit out of this.
He's on PCP.
And he gets in there and he blows the wall up. So they have to keep falling back and falling back. Aragorn tosses a dwarf. Don't tell the elf. Cut back. The Treebeard's like, I'm going to take you this way. Oh shit, the forest is gone. So they decide to attack Isengard.
Now
they fuck
I'm
some
mad.
shit up.
No.
Yeah.
You're pissed off trees.
They're in the fight now, which is great. They don't know where their tree wives went. Sad. So then Frodo and Sam and Gollum go with Faramir to the Battle of Osgiliath. I think I said that right.
Osgiliath.
Thank you. And
We're so close.
that goes all right. That goes okay. Yeah. There's a ring right there. That's kind of scary. They fly
Dragon
now,
Wraith.
guys. Y'all, they fly.
You said sexy wrong, but that's fine.
Sorry, sexy, scary. Same thing. Same emotion almost.
It's pretty close.
It's kind of like one of the
I'm
Spice
afraid of
Girls.
intimacy.
Scary
so,
Spice.
that battle goes all right. Faramir's like, you know what? You gotta go. I can't keep you here. You got a mission.
I'm gonna be your
And they're like, you gotta
Boromir.
forfeit your life. He's like, well then shit, it's forfeit. Like I don't want everyone else to die. I'll die. No big deal. My dad will kill me. He hates me anyway. I'm dead inside. So
sad.
sad. As they are about to lose this fight, Theoden's like, no way we can do it. Aragorn's like, yo, we gotta believe. And I think this is silly because the light's there and he's like, yo, we gotta believe. We gotta do this. Let's ride into battle and die. Secretly, he knows Gandalf's gonna show up. Why didn't he just tell Theoden that? No one knows. So they ride out there. Gandalf shows up with the rest of the, what did we call them? Broer him?
Yeah.
The Riders of Broham.
Yeah.
The Riders of Broham.
And they rush in and they scare the army shitless and they're like flying. They're like,
first
oh,
light hits
we can't do this.
Call
Over the
Urban
eastern
to the
horizon.
Rex here.
Yeah, Gandalf fucks some shit up. Theoden fucks some shit up. It's all good. They win the Battle of Helm's Deep. The people are safe. Hella people died though, yo. But it's all good. Throughout
because
all of
an
this,
old guy shot first.
Throughout all of this,
Han Solo.
Aragorn's like, "Oh, Arwen's dying. Should I love Èowyn because I want to let Arwen go? I don't know. They're so similar in their names." And then
It's a name thing.
what I didn't mention though, this whole time that Gollum is there with Frodo and Sam, the Rangers are beating the shit out of him left and right to the point where I think in one scene Faramir chokes him twice against a wall, and you're like,
Yeah.
he got it the first time. You're stronger, and that pushes Gollum far enough to invite Gollum back.
Smeagol to invite Gollum. Yes.
Right. What did I say?
You said Gollum to invite Gollum.
Gollum.
Same. They're the same fucking thing.
We. There's gonna be a-
Some people could
How
argue.
dare
Some people
you.
could argue that Smeagol died the moment he killed Deagle.
No.
So no.
Well, we
So
don't know this yet. until the
Smeagol
third one.
invites
their brother Vin Diesel.
Smeagol invites Gollum back unbeknownst to Sam and Frodo, and he has this whole inner monologue where he's like, we could kill him. And Smeagol's like, no, it's too risky. And then Gollum's like, we could have her do it, and then we could take the ring when she's done. And Smeagol's like, yeah, sounds dope. Let's do that. That sounds like a good plan. That sounds easy.
Roll
Hands are
credits.
clean. And then he's all like, yo, it's this way, guys. And then he really evilly goes, fucking follow me. And yeah, that's credits. How'd I do?
Perfect.
I left some.
Only 12 minutes long.
I left some stuff out,
Some stuff out.
like the big wolf battle where
The
Aragorn
wargs.
kind of dies and then comes back, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
It's
are
Yeah, whatever.
It's
Both
so much quicker
manufactured.
than I remember. Like I remember him being quote unquote dead for so much longer, but in reality, it's
no,
like
it's very
10
short.
Yeah.
they're both manufactured for the movie.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Lots of things.
What
happen
do you
real
mean by
quick.
that? Manufactured for the movie.
They're not in books.
Yeah.
Oh. The Wet Dream was made for the movie?
Sure.
Because
I don't know what that's referring to,
because he's wet and he
falls
has
down,
dreams.
Oh, okay.
and then he's dreaming of Arwen.
Arwen, Aerosmith.
Aerosmith.
Dreaming of Aerosmith.
Yeah. I hope
that's
you
most
guys aren't
things.
too harsh on me for trying to do all that all from memory.
4-hour movie in
that was great.
12
in
minutes.
12 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, there we are. So release date December 18th, 2002, pretty much exactly a year
Exactly,
after
yeah.
almost. Peter Jackson.
2002.
Budget 94 million, box office 926
10
million.
times.
Oh my god.
Oh my! They did all right. They did all
I
right.
think
It was
they-
okay.
They
Well,
did okay.
what I wanted to say as well, in terms of like initial reactions of watching this movie now as an adult,
Yeah.
really does blend really well the blockbuster and the good filmmaking. You know,
Yeah.
because you get, I call it like you get the blockbuster films, and then you get the like Academy films or the industry films, which are like they're not relatively known for being huge blockbuster hits unless your name is Christopher Nolan.
Hmm.
But then like this is like it fucking does really well to add in like the action and the comedy and the character as well as good filmmaking. So it's like
Well, one thing.
the trilogy has it made, and I haven't seen Return of the King like since my adolescence.
Yeah.
So like I already know. I'm like, all right, well,
One
this,
part that
this
I
is the
want
big
to
one.
point out, just because it probably won't make my favorite moments or anything like that, is specifically in the extended edition, the extra bit you get about Faramir and Boromir's like backstory,
Oh,
like their
that
flashback.
flashback.
That's all extended.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The one where
It's
he's
not
like,
in
Faramir helped, and he's like, your brother's a fucking useless piece
Yeah.
of shit. He's like,
And so we
Dad.
didn't get that flashback,
easy.
which I think
even with Sean Bean in it, like the
Yeah.
entire thing with Sean Bean's gone.
Yeah.
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 Maybe
So-
that's why I didn't get it.
So and that's part of it too, where I was like, that flashback made me like Boromir's character so much more. And because
But-
I kind of see that like it's him and his brother, and they gotta
But
both deal with their
It
dad.
also gives a lot of like ammo feeling of like the first one has so much to do with the second one.
yes.
Yeah.
Like I talk a lot about how films are like independent and all that stuff, but
Mhm.
when they're made like, you know, this is the sequel of that one, it feels good to be like kind of like rewarded to know what happened in the first one.
Yeah.
More connection.
Faramir,
Connection, yeah.
his story is
like
way cut down.
consequence.
Yeah.
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 And I said this last time, I was like, fucking Boromir's a good ass guy. He's just tempted. He's just a human. He's just human. Even though he was built
yeah.
to be like, you won't be tainted by the ring. Immediately tainted by the ring.
This film was nominated for 6 Academy Awards.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It won
Won 2
2
of them, right?
It won
Wow.
Best Sound Editing
Yeah, it
and
Eh.
Best Visual Effects. It was nominated for Best Picture, Best Art Direction, Set Direction, Best Film Editing, and Best Sound.
No best director, huh?
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Wow.
Save that for Return of the King.
It's all politics.
It was really pretty though.
Yeah.
Like there's so many shots in this one that are just like
Yeah.
Mm.
The 11 or whatever that it won for Return, I feel like those are all awards for
the
all of them.
series, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that too.
That's how I feel.
It's an IOU.
Yeah, exactly.
That is
No,
what
exactly.
the Academy
100%.
actually is. It's a bunch
Yeah.
of
Really?
IO
Yeah.
fucking use.
That's-
It's terrible.
It's,
It felt that.
Like a lot
I
of-
immediately felt that.
Like weird tangent. A lot of directors get awards the following year
This is
for
like-
films they should have got the year before.
Well, it's like the quality of
Oh.
Return isn't leagues above the other two.
No.
So
Yeah.
it's like it's clearly
well, it's
Well,
like
don't
not to get
ruin it
off,
for me.
not to get totally off topic, because I did like Shape of Water, but a lot of people say that Guillermo's win on that was for his past work, the
Oh.
25 years that he's been fucking snubbed.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, moving
Uh,
onward, this film was great.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think just a little bit before we get into favorite parts and all that, how do you think it fares as a sequel? How do you think it fares as the middle film?
Perfectly.
Because you know
yeah.
they're I
Yeah.
think actually I think before I will call this Lord of the Rings kind of like the renaissance of like epics or renaissance of trilogies.
Yeah.
Because before that, you know, with Disney films or whatever, you actually had a lot of films that did like trilogies, and the middle film was the worst.
Well,
Can we hashtag trademark?
Trilogy.
Trilosance.
Well, the thing too about this time,
Mhm.
is something interesting was going on in the movie industry, and I think I called it I don't remember what I call it. It was like it was the time of the trilogy,
Uh-huh.
and essentially it was like, okay, Lord of the Rings came out, then the next Harry Potter movie came out, then the next like Matrix movie came out, or something like that, and there was like this like, and it just kept continuing
Ebb
for
and
several
flow,
years.
Franchise building.
Where it was just franchise.
Well, it's like everything. I mean, I call it sequel invasion,
Yeah.
where it's like everything has to have a
And I
fucking
think
sequel.
this
It
was
can never
kind
be
of
a
a part
classic.
of that.
Yeah.
Like the early 2000s, late 90s, it was like like I said,
Yeah.
Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and then the MCU started coming into the world, and it's like, and those were kind of later.
But I would argue that it probably did influence that.
Yeah.
But I would put it in its own. I would say that it's unique in the sense that it was always planned because of
It's
the source
3
material.
books.
It was always going to be.
Yeah.
Right.
They were
well,
shot
I
all
mean,
together.
his whole plan was 2 movies.
Yeah, his plan was 2.
And they were like, why not just
They're
do
like,
one
this
for
is
each?
3.
I was like,
Um,
great.
It's like, oh, okay.
And I was comparing it even
He
to
went the opposite with Hobbit. He was like, 1 book, 3 fucking movies.
Yeah,
He's like,
exactly.
no, whoa.
Calm down.
I was comparing it to even lesser
back to the
status of
2.
like Die Hard films versus
Yeah.
like Lethal Weapon films and all the other action films like before it. Like the sequels were always
Those are like-
terrible.
Well, they're like, this did well. Let's make another.
Yeah.
The Weapon,
Yeah.
but sequels are not terrible.
Well, they weren't as great as the first or the third.
Yes,
be
they
argued.
were.
How
I
dare
agree
you?
with Die Hard.
Lethal Weapon?
Yes. Lethal
Oh.
Weapon's great until 5.
I
There
heard
was a
that the-
5?
No.
I was gonna say
That's why.
T2.
I heard that they're
There's a
talking
show.
about creating another one.
I'm
another
down.
Lethal Weapon.
They're
watch it.
consistently good.
Idris Elba, Tom Hardy. Okay.
No. Originals. They are talking about
Wow.
Mel
Anyways,
Gibson and Danny Glumber.
Get outta here with
Anyway,
that.
Danny Glover. You get your Charles Gambino in there.
even Danny Glover was like, sure.
I'm still
If we
too
did
old
that.
for
Two
this.
Towers was great.
Yeah.
So 2 Towers anyway.
But from a story
As a sequel.
perspective, I would say that it does, like I mentioned before, it does so well at overcoming the challenges of a second movie. And I think really you could see this as like the arc that you want to follow for me is Gimli, Aragorn, and Legolas.
Yes.
Like it's
100%.
really, for me, it's like that is the core narrative for
Mhm.
this whole thing.
I mean, it feels like this one, a lot of it's actually a lot on Aragorn.
Yeah.
Like, if not, like the first one felt way more on like Frodo.
Yeah.
Well, this
Yeah.
is when you're getting that sense of like, okay, Aragorn's a big deal to this whole like story.
Yeah, which I think, as a kid and looking back and then all of a sudden like hearing everyone talk about it, I was like, how Aragorn's such a big, like, but he's not even the main character, is he? And I had to think about that question.
He's
I'm
like the second main character.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so
It's
like,
always about Frodo and the ring.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But Aragorn
But then
is
there's that
just
bigger
as
story
compelling.
of what's happening in Middle Earth of
Well,
like men.
I think-
and
I think the cool
It's everything that goes on to make sure Frodo can take
Yeah.
that journey.
I think the cool
Right.
thing is that Frodo carries out the main story, is that the ring must be destroyed or else the world will end, right? But then Aragorn kind of serves as the audience, like, well, how is the world responding to everything?
the way I've thought of it is like Frodo and Sam's story is a story of human condition and
Mhm.
how it deals with things like greed and jealousy and stuff like that.
Heavyweight burden.
Right. And then like the Gandalf, Pip, Aragorn kind of stuff like that is more so not on a personal scale, but like how do the masses react to such things as tragedy and stuff like that.
Mhm.
If that
For
makes
me,
sense.
like the what is it? I think Sam and Frodo's story works so well in Towers specifically, as like because you could argue that not a whole lot happens as far as they just kind of
Get
like
kidnapped.
he feels the weight of the ring a bit more, and then he just journeys a little bit farther
Mhm.
as
Yeah.
far as like lasting things, right? Because he gets captured for like a second, but the reason it works so well is because of the introduction of Gollum,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like breakthrough performance by Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's why that half of the movie or whatever works so well.
Well, and it's nice because it's built up in the first one, right? You hear about Gollum twice in
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
first film.
Yes.
Both times someone's like, yeah, he's been
and
following
you
us
only
for like
see
5
inklings
days.
of him. He's the shark in Jaws.
Yeah.
You're like, ooh, I want to
You
see
see
more.
his fingers and his eyes,
Mhm.
and that's it.
And then you see like a small shape moving.
Oh, early in the film.
Yes.
Yeah, during the epilogue. Yeah,
Yeah.
or yeah, prologue.
It was before they. It's interesting because if you go back and look at those, it was
different
before they
design.
had. It was before they had nailed down the look.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's very obvious that it's that's slightly different. Like the
Yeah.
eyes are different, and
His nose.
Because Gollum wasn't he originally he was just going to be VO and they
Yeah, he
liked
was just gonna
they
be-
liked it so much they were like do the motion cap.
there was
too.
going to be.
They were going to Galactus him?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the first time it was.
Jesus.
I think wasn't it going to be?
Well, no, he was gonna be in there, but it was just gonna be all VFX. No.
Yeah, they just
motion
hadn't like
capture.
Oh.
nailed down the visual.
Oh,
Like-
fucking happy accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they revolutionized. I mean, this is the movie they revolutionized
Yeah.
that with. It was unfucking seen before this.
Yeah.
Which
and
is
it
why
still holds up.
that's
which
what
is
I was saying.
amazing.
That's why Ollie was talking about it earlier. He was like, I think it just holds up because they weren't. It's the same reason I think Jurassic Park CG holds up to this day is they
Jurassic
made
Park 1.
yeah. They took a lot of precautions going, this is new tech.
Mhm.
Let's make sure
They
we're
didn't
not
overuse it.
brazen with it. Like let's play it close to the chest, use a lot of the tricks we know work
Mhm.
and integrate it into those tricks as opposed to like, let's do all this new stuff and make our film work around
Well, it's
it.
like sometimes human beings just stand in frame and don't move a muscle.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that happens. And if we want to have a CG character, we can't have him floating around every time.
Mm-hmm.
Every second you look back at him, you can't have him like fidgeting his lips and stuff. It's like sometimes
Yeah.
he just stands completely still and he's frozen.
Yeah,
That's okay.
exactly. People do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Or they slap a
They
fish
do?
on some rocks. Who knows? Whatever works.
Yeah.
In the
Which is
forbidden
actually,
zoo.
I think, is actually a pretty humane way to kill a fish. If you
Yeah,
don't have
except he
like
didn't do
Yeah.
it right.
if you don't have a sharp
No.
if you don't have a sharp tool, yeah,
He hits it 3 times and
And
then it comes
he's-
back to life and then he just goes fucking ham on it.
that's what we should have done first.
Yeah. Favorite parts?
Are we there?
So
I,
many. Did you have a
Josh?
comment?
I was just gonna add, yeah, I think it's good as a sequel.
Oh, sorry.
I
I
like
thought,
No,
the
no, no.
movie.
I thought we all said yes real quick.
Yeah, I like the movie. No,
Then I
I
guess you offer yourself up to favorite parts.
Yep.
Oh, all right. Favorite parts.
Sweet baby parts.
Shake it out.
Josh.
This well, I think it counts.
Josh
The
edition.
credits.
I think it counts that my favorite part in 1 is a part of 2 because Two Towers opens up with what continues after. You shall not pass.
Yeah.
And he's just falling. And like specifically, my favorite part of that part is when they do this like overview shot
Oh,
of
it's
this
heavenly
giant
shot.
cave,
Yeah.
and it's dark, and then all of a sudden you start seeing this ball
It's a
of
big old
flame
wide-
Tiny
Yeah.
little thing.
just dropping.
Which is cool because you know the scale of the Balrog.
Yeah.
And then he's
Yeah.
fucking huge. So seeing it that small, you're like, this cavern must be endless.
Can I make a comment about that? I just feel like
Do it.
baby Josh, when he watched the Fellowship of the Ring, then all of a sudden 2 hours like, my favorite part was Fellowship. They're starting it with my favorite part.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just that.
And then I'm over here going, fucking
This
Gandalf
is
died
my-
again.
My worst part.
Well, because you don't see you don't see that.
Why do you have to turn the knife?
Yeah, no, you do see that right in the beginning.
Because
Yeah.
Fellowship has relatively fewer action scenes. And I think starting it off with such a like epic
Yeah.
scene.
Well, and a part
Yeah.
that broke everyone's heart in the first
right.
film.
But then like as soon as like the camera then starts following him down, you're like, oh shit, we're gonna
Previously on Lord of the
we're
Rings.
gonna see
no!
this. We're gonna see what
I can't
happens
wait
on
to
the
watch
side.
Infinity War with
Bum,
Caitlin to seeing Spider-Man dust away in part 4.
I'm not
Spoilers.
okay.
Not
I'm
okay.
not okay.
No, I'm not feeling very good. That's what it is.
But go on, Josh.
Not feeling good.
My other favorite part, I love that sequence when I know where Aragorn, the fight where it leads up to Aragorn's like quote death. I just thought it's such a fun fight of just like all those
wargs.
creatures. Helm's Deep.
Those
I mean,
are wolves, right?
Wargs.
Wargs. Gotcha. I was like, what the hell are
Warg.
they?
Helm's Deep. I mean, to me, is always going to be my favorite on camera.
Oh yeah.
Or on film, like battle.
Well, it's
Just
another one
every
of those
part of it.
situations too, where like they didn't rely on CGI.
Yeah.
They had so many stuntmen in prosthetics fighting.
Full
Yeah.
armor
In
suits.
full armor.
Yeah.
Ho!
armor.
Yeah.
New,
Ho!
New
That's
Zealanders.
very
Real
To all you
armor.
Good.
filmmakers out there, if you can do it in camera, try.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
It looks so
It's
much better.
so
It's
beautiful.
it allows you to just immerse yourself. Like if they had used a ton of CGI, I mean, I know there's CGI in it,
Yeah.
but if they had relied on it and then like,
Completely.
yeah, I
Would have
never would have
removed
cared
some
about
of
that
that.
fight.
Yeah.
I would tell you, Corey, like kind of like something that current filmmakers are trying to do, something like in Game of Thrones. Their only limitation was that they couldn't get that many horses.
Oh
because
yeah,
they were
yeah.
at their limit.
I mean, like
How
they
many
couldn't
horses they can
get
actually bring.
10,000 people, so obviously like the first 4 or 5 rows are real people.
Well, no,
and
I
then-
mean like
Mhm.
where I think this film has later on like influenced how Game of Thrones have been filmed.
oh yeah,
And so the Battle of the Bastards, which I think is the best fight sequence on TV, is highly influenced by this.
Oh, yeah.
Just because of
Yeah.
the sheer amount of like people they had.
and how many
Yeah.
stunts they could do,
100%.
and like yeah,
So I mean, like, yeah, this has definitely created some good like consequences in later filmmaking.
yeah,
And their
Mhm.
armor.
yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
I think it does to that point. I think they accomplish a lot more as far as the fight scenes, more so than what they accomplish in Return.
Yeah.
Which
In
will-
return,
which ... We'll go over that.
Yep.
Next episode.
Next
in
episode.
2 hours from now.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the Helm's Deep battle also kind of developed some of the jokes that are now going on, like Legolas and Gimli, like having their "That's
count.
one."
The
Yeah.
count off.
The count
The count
off.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
This is the birth
Favorite
of so
part for
many
me, for
memes.
sure.
My axe is engraved in
This
his
movie also
nervous
has a bunch of
system.
memes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One last favorite part, and it's so tiny, you just might miss it.
Credits.
When the ants, are they called ants?
Ents.
Ents.
E-N-T. E-N-T.
When they were taking ants, when the ants are taking on, no.
Really tiny.
And
Really,
really
tiny.
tiny.
Part. The ants.
They're taking on Saruman,
Oh.
his
Isengard.
tower,
Isengard.
Isengard. And they let the dam loose and the water's going down and one of the trees is on fire and all of the trees are bracing themselves for the water. And then you see this little one like down at the bottom of the frame just run in and put himself out because he was on fire. It just every single time just makes you go, wait, watch.
Wait for it.
There he is.
He's okay now.
He's all right.
okay.
It's okay.
He wanted this to happen.
Yeah. So just cracks me up every time.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like the Wilhelm scream.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I
Present
hear
every
that.
time. It was very present in this one.
Yeah. Usually
Super
they bury
present.
it.
Caitlin.
Cameron.
Favorite part for me is probably Gimli telling Aragorn to toss him onto the bridge.
Don't tell the elf.
Yeah, mainly
Toss me.
because the whole time he's like, I don't like elves. Elves are stupid. I
Well,
hate
in the
them.
first film, also when the stairs are cracking,
never
he tries
throw
to, he
a-
goes, never throw it, or never toss a dwarf.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, not
So
by the
he's-
beard.
And he's so
His-
sensitive about it too. He's just like,
super sensitive about it.
toss me.
He's like, just
And just a
do
shout
it.
out
Just do
again to like tangent off yours real quick, parentheses on yours. Like huge shout out to John Rhys Davies
it.
again.
Oh my
like,
god.
Gimli is such a joy to watch every
Yeah.
single time.
Every frame he's in.
like it's so good.
And like props to him for putting up with 3 years of allergic reactions.
Being allergic to his
Oh my
prosthetics.
God.
Like,
3 full
Can't
years
even
of just
imagine
being
that.
in the shit that makes you swell up every day.
Now
Yeah.
that I know that and I've been paying attention to his eyes, I'm like, oh no.
Super
Yeah.
slept on
Puff up.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
yeah. But anyways.
Every time you see him, you're like,
Here's
Oh,
also a fun
dang.
fact because he has sensitive skin. All of the main fellowship got tattoos in Elvish 9, but
Except
he couldn't, so he got his stunt double to do it.
Oh.
So I think that's really sweet.
Aw,
Anyway.
and his poor stun double.
Favorite parts.
No, yeah, definitely the tossing. Wow, and now I'm blanking a lot.
can come
Most
back to
things
you.
to do with Èowyn.
Okay.
Just because she was really great. I don't know if it's
Her
like a
cooking?
favorite part, but just that it had a lot of impact was the heartbreak of her
Yeah.
being like,
Oh, with the when she
Aragorn's
gets
got a
the
bay,
necklace.
huh?
I'm the side
When
bag.
Right,
like
and
when
I'm the
Legolas gives him the
side
necklace
bay.
back,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
and she's like, "Oh, never
Oh.
mind."
yeah.
Because you just know she wants to run up to him and like hug him and kiss him.
I mean,
Well,
I would
she
I would say
never
something
asked.
else.
She assumed he's single the whole time. Just
I would-
ask.
Yeah.
Well, no, because he said like, so where's this Elvish chick at? And he's like, well, she's like,
just like
She's
that.
going to the
She's
land of
off
the
yonder.
undying.
Yeah.
and she's like, oh, okay.
She's
Good
like,
to
no,
know.
I'm really sad for
She's
you.
trying to slip and slide in them DMs.
Here she is.
It's not cheating if it's a different zip
He
code.
left her
Is
on
that the-
red. He left her on red.
Thirsty.
Oh my god.
That's true facts.
Come
True
back to
facts.
me. Come
Okay,
back to
I'll
me.
come back to you.
I'm trying to remember.
Do you want Tom? Do you want to go next? Because I'm gonna go. I'm
Okay,
gonna
I'll go
off.
just
Yeah.
because I
Corey's
feel
like, I have so
I am
much.
the least of the initiated of these.
Ollie and I are gonna go.
So the Battle of Helms Deep, I think, you could talk about. It's funny because I think about giant fights and I'm kind of like they're whatever for me. Like I like the scale. I think the accomplishment of it, how it's done, is great. But the best moments of the fights are between the three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could care less about what happened between anyone else. I can care to see like ladders coming up or blah blah.
Well,
or
the nice thing is
bombs.
they're not just fighting for the spectacle of it.
Yeah.
Transformers. They're fighting to tell the story. It's moving the plot.
Well, I mean, this also fight means something.
Yeah, that's
this
what I
is
mean.
the first fight of the world, blah blah blah. But like, also like, it's the parts of like these are heroes now. Like, so they're like when they're on frame, music plays. Like how is Legolas better than all the other elves? In archery, how is this dwarf
Because he's beautiful.
more
he's a
capable
prince.
than everyone? So like, those moments were my favorite parts of that fight. I think my favorite part specifically is probably the fight between Gandalf and the Balrog with the sword sequences, like when
Oh,
they're
yeah.
falling, because
Very
it's
good.
I think it's really well done for its time, and I
Yeah.
think like there's not a lot of good falling fight sequences that can ever be done in that time, but then they somehow made it good.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, also a favorite part is just whenever Carl Urban is in frame because I like him a lot, although he doesn't do much other than like
Yeah.
be sad and like kill a couple people, but
He's
like
sad.
I fucking love him. Like I love Carl
Carl
Urban.
Urban's great in this.
He's great. He's so
He's
slept
baller
on.
because like his character gets banished and he's still like, you know what, guys?
We're
We're still gonna protect Rohan
I love Carl
because
Urban.
we're still loyal to that.
Any part, yeah, exactly. Any part with Gimli is great.
What about that part where Legolas stands up for Gimli?
Oh
He's
yeah,
like,
with the arrow.
I would cut off your head
Yeah, it's
if
like,
it were but a few feet off the ground.
and then he's
You
like,
would die before you.
Yeah.
Oh my
I love that.
gosh.
Pulls his arrow
Yes.
out.
Oh,
this is
that is a
the
favorite
ship.
part for sure.
I just ship them together. I'm like, all right,
Was that the moment?
they love each other.
That, oh,
they
yes.
love each other.
Obviously.
What is the exact
corny.
line? You would die before your.
Before your stroke fell.
Yeah.
struck fell. So
I also love Gimli's expression right after that too of like, oh, did he just stick up for me? Are we best friends now?
It's a mix of did he stick up
Yes.
for me and like this is not the fucking time because we are literally surrounded. But yeah.
What else? I mean, I think I like the Aragorn sequences just because you get to know a little bit more. Again, knowing more about the character and what he has at stake.
He's
a little
just so-
tumble off the cliff.
Yeah.
He's just so cool.
He is. He's a fucking baller.
Well, then like hearing
For
about
an
like how
82-year-old, he's
hearing
looking-
about how like he fought with
87?
Theoden.
That's what it is.
He fought with Theoden's father.
Uh-huh.
Right, like learning about that, learning how old he is, and learning like
Which I believe is not in the theatrical cut at all.
yeah. So I mean, like I was like, oh,
they
this
wanted to
guy's
keep him
pretty
like-
dope.
He's,
Well, it's like that whole
he's 35.
yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Basically the cut like the things that didn't make it are things that are not like central to the plot. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like deleted scenes in a way.
I always have a good like for whenever the Uruk-hai are being born.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
It's always fun.
It just looks
Grosses me
cool.
out.
Digging them out of the earth.
Oh, I love.
And he's like inspecting him and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I love
Yeah.
it when like one came out and it's still got the sack over it and like its jaw is just way too big. Like this is a deformed looking one. I don't know what's happened with this one, but I love the design.
Yeah.
Like I love the macabre.
Yeah.
Like I
Oh
love
my
those
goodness.
disgusting looking things.
Fun fact that I had learned. So the Uruk-hai,
Uruk-hai.
they were trying to find all these guys that are over 6 foot and they couldn't. So then they had the Uruk low. So they had to get people that
Oh,
were
yeah.
shorter.
Oh wow.
And so they called them on set the Uruk low.
oh wow.
Uruk-hai and Uruk.
Oh, I guess one really big moment that really stood out to me that I really liked was when they're transporting Mary and Pippin. Is that their
Mhm.
names?
Yeah.
And then they start speaking. You actually hear them talk other than roar.
Yeah.
Flesh.
And I loved hearing them talk because I just like you get more of a sense of like I like the races
Mhm.
Yeah,
upon Middle Earth, and I liked seeing how they respond to each other, and the part where meat's back on the menu, like those kind of things. I'm like,
I always
cool, I get to
accredit
see
it.
them.
I always accredit when I was younger that, and they don't explain in the book, that they've just gotten better at making Uruk-hai in
Mhm.
that short amount of time. And that
Oh, and they got smarter, more intelligent.
yeah,
yeah.
but it's impossible.
I mean,
it's such a
that's-
small amount of time.
I mean, it's we're talking about people who are flying on giant birds. So
Yeah.
are we really gonna nitpick about that? But I mean, like, I like the fact that we got to see that,
Yeah.
and you see them in daylight. So I mean, I don't know exactly if there was we have the notes from the last one, but like if there was more money or more budget or more time just dedicated to this one.
It
But,
was
like,
the same. It was nonstop.
Yeah, so like it just felt really cool to see him in daylight because one big thing like in most films you always see like if they can shoot in daylight that means they don't have to hide as much.
Mhm.
So like seeing them in daylight was like great. It felt great. So and
Yeah.
having them talk and give them lines,
Yeah.
give them character.
Yeah.
Um,
Ollie?
There's so many,
I know.
but
I'm trying to like
Yeah.
Rolodex it right now and just be like, brrr,
Yeah.
this one, brrr, this one.
one of my favorite scenes, and I think probably my favorite, is just and I think it's more of a musical cue, or because of a musical cue, and that's right after Èowyn says like your words are poison to Wormtongue and goes outside. Just when the musical cue starts right there, that one, because it's like building up a score, and then it just cuts to like a single. The instrument's called a Norwegian fiddle.
Mhm.
Interesting.
And it's that one musical cue that
Oh, yeah.
I love that. That's my favorite. Yeah, that's my favorite. I think the track is, I was trying to look it up. I think it's King of the Golden Hall, and that's in that track. But yeah, that's that moment of just like in despair and like the flag rips off the pole,
Which
and
was
flies away.
not
Which
intended.
is not intended, but it was like
Really?
so perfect.
No, they were filming the flag and it ripped off, and the cameraman was just
That
like,
location.
follow that flag.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That location was like super windy.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
hundreds of 100 miles per hour wind. Like when they were
Yeah.
trying to film.
And they
stuff.
just had the instinct to follow it, which was great, and they
Mhm.
kept it in.
yeah.
Wow.
A lot of little moments like that throughout these films, by the way.
Yeah.
They didn't have the same themes as the first one, where they didn't have like the ring theme or
They
all that
did.
stuff. It wasn't as prevalent as actually this one that I was actually going to mention was like the Rohan theme.
Mhm.
Like that one was like really kind of tied me into the movie of like, oh, these parts are really like important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all of the Rohan music is like Rohan's my favorite location because of that. Because
Yeah,
of all
we
the
talked
music
about
and
this.
the-
Like,
yeah.
if we had to pick one
If we had to
human
live
city to
somewhere.
live in, it
Mhm.
would be Rohan.
Because,
for sure.
because I just remember speaking like when like the hobbits would talk to each other, you hear like the Shire music,
Mhm.
but then like I don't like
Or
this here like
specifically
was
Edoras.
super.
which is
Edoras.
that town.
Mhm.
This was like just super like, oh, this is if this is a theme
Yeah.
for the film, this is.
But
it
also
for
you
me.
can't deny a bit more of a like traditional hero moment would be when Gandalf appears
Yeah.
at the end
Oh yeah.
over the eastern horizon.
First daylight.
And but not only that, but like
Somebody
it's when they're
remembered a
running
favorite
down,
part.
you're like, oh, they're about to like collide or whatever. But then like the light comes over the edge because it's like east, sunrise is right there. Like and then blinds the Uruk-hai.
Yep.
Like that was just so cool.
It's awesome. Plus, Gandalf is letting out light with his staff too,
Was he like supplementing it?
a little bit. Yeah, that's his thing. He does it in the third one too, when he's going across
he's-
the field and he's got the light.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Josh, you're squirming.
Question.
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
Tight
And
there,
The
maybe-
like-
music, the music with
Um,
that, right when that happened.
I know.
Yeah.
Do you, and I could be like completely, I have no idea, but I feel like these movies developed or improved the battle scene in terms of two armies meeting.
Mhm.
It's like they're coming together, and I just,
Yeah.
it
Happens
just like,
a couple times.
Oh yeah.
boom, like,
And then the
that's my
Hobbit
favorite moment, when
ruined
they
The
meet
fighting,
all
it
of
happens.
that.
The one with the warg when they're kind of
Yeah.
they're on horseback
Yeah.
and they
Mhm.
meet the warg riders and they clash like crazy. They like collide.
and I think it happens a couple of
Take
times
out a few horses.
in the third
and
one.
a few wargs, yeah.
And so I'm
But when
having
they're
a hard time
riding-
thinking of other movies that did that before this,
yeah.
because now since then,
Happens a
there's
lot.
so many movies that now have the armies meeting.
like Troy.
Yeah.
Or the
also,
Hobbit.
also like a sound thing. I really liked what's his name?
Those ripoffs.
Treebeard.
Treebeard.
I really liked his voice. I really liked how he
Gimli.
did it. It was Gimli's
Gimli's
voice, but
voice.
like obviously they designed it and did some stuff to
It
it.
was like part of it was because he kind of imagined like air moving through a tree or whatever.
Mhm.
He also read lines as he inhaled.
Oh.
So not just like not speaking
Oh.
on exhale, but speaking on inhale.
So he was really breathy.
Always
very
do that
bespoke.
now.
Always. I don't know how people would enjoy that.
But
The way he described it, I believe he said he did it only on breaths. He did inhales.
Yeah.
And then he would, instead of talking and then kind of letting the air run out there, he would, as he was exhaling, he would let his lines.
Oh man, the
And he would
VO
breathe.
sessions for that have been
It was
so
crazy.
long.
So
Oh,
see his hand
forever.
So
and I,
so
and I
many.
mentioned it. It sounded very much like how Hugo Weaving did Megatron, and I was like, I don't know if it was the same like.
I totally forgot he did Megatron.
Yeah.
Hugo Weaving did fucking Megatron, and
That's right.
he spoke in Cybertronian language and shit. But like it just sounded like almost the same kind of effect. And obviously it had to have been influenced by. But I was just like, it sounds just like it's fucking a calm Megatron. But I really like. I
Well,
just
Tom,
like
when
the
you're a
sound of
certain caliber of actor.
it. Well then.
Ollie,
Yeah.
more favorite
Yeah.
parts?
Oh my god.
Do you have one?
The,
I mean, just that beginning part where they're diving down.
Yeah.
But specifically when like you realize, because the movie opens with the mountains. I hope this is the same in theatrical. I can't remember now at this point. But it's like going over the mountains and all you see mountains for like 30
and
seconds.
you're hearing,
and then you start hearing the battle,
Yeah.
and then it zooms into that one hole in the mountain, and then that happens. And you're like, oh, okay, this is we're getting right in there. You shall not pass. That happens, breaks the bridge, falls down. But then the moment specifically is when that camera starts following him down. You're like, oh shit,
You're like, wait, what? Wait, what?
this is okay. We're getting the second half of this.
I wiped my tears away real quick.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck's happening?
Oh, he's
that,
dead again.
That whole fall battle, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so good.
real good.
Caitlin,
Wait,
you
Caitlin,
were
said-
you were starting to say,
Fangorn,
I'll cap
Fangorn.
myself there.
Fangorn,
Fangorn
Fangorn,
Forest?
Fangorn Forest.
Just the whole thing, like all of it. Or
Fangorn Forest as a whole, I just love a lot. Just because
like when
like
Treebeard steps on the orc.
when Treebeard steps on the orc, when he's just like doesn't give a shit about. They're like, we're halflings, we're hobbits. He's like, nah.
Sounds like orc tricks.
Yeah.
I love that.
And also
Orc
like
mischief.
at
That's what
the
it is.
end of Helm's Deep, when like the trees are just so pissed off at Saruman, they just like wait. They're like, "Come here, just run in. It's fine. It's safe.
Yep.
You're safe." And then you just see the trees like walloping and hearing all the Uruk-hai scream. It's just the best.
I love that.
Also, Isengard being taken over by the Ents was
Baller.
Yeah.
so baller.
Just them
you have
throwing
to try
boulders.
so hard to piss off trees for
Yeah.
them to come out and rip down your house.
'Cause they were totally
Treebeard's
not for it,
reaction. No,
with
Treebeard's
haste.
reaction, seeing how much waste they had laid to his forest, was like, "You murdered his whole family."
He knew them
tree.
before they were even
Yeah.
acorns.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm upset with you.
I didn't.
but
Cue the
it's
Tom
not
side.
stumbled
wrong.
into that. It
That
wasn't
was pretty-
planned.
That was pretty good.
Sure.
But
It
oh
just-
my god, like when they let the dam loose and Saruman's looking around being like, I
Fuck.
can't
The
fix
river.
this.
No,
Everybody's in my
scene-
yard.
When they, I love
Get off my lawn.
when you see him throw the boulder and you're like, that's cool, but then it cuts to where the boulder's going and you see it just roll over like
Yeah.
15 orc. You're like,
Yeah.
oh damn,
It's a
I
big
didn't know it
boulder.
was that big. Yeah,
Favorite
Ents-
parts?
Ents are so
Me?
good. Oh
buckle your
god.
fucking seatbelts.
Are we ready for a 3-hour long episode?
No. I'll keep it. As you guys have gone around, you've taken a few of mine. I've kind of slimmed it down. That Rolodex is.
Yeah.
What was that?
Sound effects.
There we go.
First one I gotta just give right off the bat is the fucking slide down the stairs on the back on that shield.
Oh, yeah.
Like-
Legolas's
my
slide,
God.
just taking people out left and right.
I like definitely
he
had a
does.
crush on him before that, but that was like, oh no.
Yeah. I love the old man who accidentally starts the battle.
It's Han Solo.
Shout out to him.
It's Han Solo. He
Let the
shot
games
first.
begin. Little things that add to the like seeing the Uruk-hai roar, but their breath on the cold night and
Mhm.
stuff like that. Like little things like that. I love. I love pretty much anything. I mean, I love Gandalf. Gandalf the Grey is my favorite of the two. And like, I love that Gimli calls it out, that he calls Gandalf the White a little more cranky than Gandalf the Grey.
They still speaking riddles.
Yeah, still speaking in riddles. I love the moment that Aragorn tells Gandalf that Sam went with Frodo, and he's
Good.
like really genuinely
Genuinely
happy
happy about
and relieved about it
Mhm.
because he knows Sam. He knew from the beginning Sam's the fucking man.
Yeah.
Don't you lose him, Samwise Genji.
Yeah.
I don't intend to. I don't know. There's just a lot of cool shit in this. Like it's from start to finish a thrilling film.
Yeah.
I love the little things like the little elven magic stuff, right?
The rope.
Like the rope coming loose when it needs
The
to,
cloak.
burning him, but also like the fact that the bread, lembas bread, is imbued with elven magic, and Gollum actually
eat it.
can't. He starts to choke on it and
Mhm.
can't eat it at all. I like the stuff that's not included. I like the stuff between Boromir and Faramir and seeing
Yeah.
their dad, that piece of shit.
Oh, he's
such
Or
a
you
piece of
really
shit.
mean? Yeah, right.
He's such a piece of
I like seeing the Rangers, the Dunedain Rangers, in action, and like, because you hear so much about them, like their lore.
Yeah.
Like everyone throughout the film is like, well, he's a Dunedain. Oh, he's a Dunedain. Blah blah blah. And you're like, who the fuck are they? Now you can kind of see who they are. They're these like people of Gondor that have kind of broken off and started their own kind of clan.
Mhm.
The argument between Gollum and Smeagol, the little detail
yeah.
that his pupils are tiny when he's Gollum and large when they're Smeagol.
And that
is
was
great.
all. I'm pretty sure that whole scene was a one take shot
Really?
from Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
And
No.
like later in the scene, editorially they just like cut
Flip.
back and forth. But
Oh, because they were
the
on a
whole-
slider, right?
yeah, well,
There it is.
at first it was a slider, but then at a certain point, like halfway through the scene, it starts just jump cutting
Yeah.
left and right.
And they just edited
That was just something
way.
that they edited in, but he did. It was all one take. He did
So they
change his
filmed the
face
whole
every
thing
time.
on a slider and would keep going back and forth, and then in the editing room they just started.
I
cut the
believe so.
slider
Yeah.
out.
Well,
I think it,
his
built,
face-
it builds tension.
yeah.
Yeah.
He changed his face every single time for that. Like in
Oh
in
man,
one
there's
shot.
so many great moments where he blinks and you're just like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
His whole face changed, and you know that's Andy Serkis behind it. Tom, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say another thing I think that was lost on me as a child. I didn't understand that Gollum was split personality.
Oh yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Oh.
So that really fucking confused me. And then all of a sudden, like, again, later on context, and now watching, like, two names.
Yeah.
Fucking two names, Tom. That should have been it for you. Why didn't you get it?
I have some favorite lines. I have why can't we have some meat? And the meat's back on the menu. Like I love those lines will forever make me laugh.
I love man flesh.
Yeah.
I smell man flesh.
Aragorn sleeping on a rock.
The other line that always gets me is took a little tumble off the cliff. and I don't. It's just tickles me every single time.
Yeah.
Anything with the Riders of Rohan, I think they're sorely.
Oh, I love them.
I would love to just see a movie about
Yeah.
Rohan.
Maybe that's
And
what the Amazon show
Love
is
with
about.
Carl Urban.
I'd
Rohan.
be
I'm
okay with that.
So
Hashtag bring back
concerned,
Carl
but
Or-
also
or-
excited about that show.
I shout out to Grima Wormtongue. I think that's a great character.
He did a great job.
The
with that.
moment where he gets pissed off that they didn't take Gandalf's staff is great.
Or the part
Told
where
you
he's
to
holding
take
the fire
wizard's
over gunpowder.
staff.
Yeah, well, like you don't. The thing about that scene is like, you as the audience don't really think about it even.
Yeah.
Like he just goes, "Oh, why can't I have my staff?" And then winks at Gimli. You're like, "Oh, that's funny." But then seeing how concerned Grima is, you're like, "Oh, damn. All right, cool." Because all we saw before is him light his staff a few times,
Yeah.
and then like the one battle with the Balrog.
Mhm.
So to see someone else so concerned that he has his staff, you're like, "Oh shit, this is great." There's one specific line I'd love to give a shout out to that means more to me the more times I watch it, and the more I kind of delve deeper into the sleepless nights of Wikipedia black holes of Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings, is the line of Legolas, I think, says, "We thought you were Saruman" when they first see Gandalf. And he's like, "I am Saruman," or Saruman as he should have been. And I love that little bit because in the behind the scenes, not behind the scenes of the movie, but like the lore of it all,
Yeah.
is Gandalf, who dies and says he spends, I think it's 6 days fighting the Balrog. That battle is supposed to go on for 6 days that he
Oh
fights
my
that thing on the weather
gosh.
top. And
Marathon fighter.
he dies, and I think it's another 6 days before he reunites with the trio, Gimli
Right.
and everyone like that. And
Mm-hmm.
each of those days to him were a life age of the earth, which is crazy.
Long,
So
long time.
for those of you who don't know,
So wait, no, 6 days to them was a life age for him.
each one of those
Each
6
one of them.
days was
Yeah.
a life age of the earth to Gandalf.
To him in his mind.
So like each of those 6 days was
Was a
the
year.
No,
Well, oh yeah, it was like 6 or 7 years.
I believe it's the entire age of the earth
Oh.
from beginning to end. So a
Hyperbolic
millennia,
time
almost a
change.
millennia. Yeah.
Okay.
Because for those of you who don't know, the Maiar, or the wizards, the 5 wizards, were sent from basically God to watch over men and elves and help them defeat evil when Sauron came along. And so he dies, and that line, Saruman as he should have been, implies a lot that if Saruman had not been corrupted, Gandalf never would have come back. He would have died, completed his task, and been like, done. But that omnipotent,
Omnipotent.
thank you,
Yeah.
being knows that Sauron has been corrupted and is like, you know what? You are now the new White Wizard. You've proved yourself. Like, you got this shit. And I love that. I love that little
You
bit of
have
information.
leveled up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he comes back. He's leveled up. New robes and everything. New weapons, new robes, and doesn't bring any for anyone else. No big
Roguelite.
deal. He ran a dungeon, got some shit.
He grinded some levels.
Pressed need on all the loot for himself. No big deal. But yeah, I mean, the whole movie, all
Yeah.
these movies are
I
my
have
favorite
one
parts.
more small favorite part, just because you reminded me of it with the Smeagol
Yeah.
scene, and that was the Smeagol scene where he hears his name for the first time,
Oh,
Frodo calls him
yeah,
that.
that was very good.
and like it almost brought like tears to my eye,
Mm-hmm.
where he just like
To one
freezes.
Yeah.
Tears to my eye.
Eyes both.
And this,
Plural.
yeah.
But it's specifically when like he's completely frozen still, and then he says, "What did you call me?"
Yeah.
Like that part right there. Like I was just like,
And that I
oh my
think this
goodness.
movie does a really good job, and the Fellowship hints at it, but this movie really does a good job of showing that Frodo is really the one who is meant to carry this ring.
Yeah.
And he's not helpless.
Mhm.
And he is very smart, and he is cunning, and he knows he takes this information that Gandalf or the others, and he absorbs it and really hangs on to that kind of stuff. Because like Gandalf told him that in
Fellowship.
Moria.
Yeah.
And it didn't come to fruition until now. And he knows when and how to use it. Because he doesn't right off the bat just call him Smeagol.
Yeah.
Like there's a moment he's like, okay, now I'm gonna use this.
Yeah.
And it shows a side of Frodo that I didn't pick up on when I was younger. And I was like, oh shit, he's really smart. He's really
Cunning.
cunning.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I liked a lot that it shows what Gandalf was telling him as well about how Bilbo saw him.
Mm-hmm.
Or like Samwise, like, he's trash, he's blah, blah, blah. Why are you like that? It's like, well, I do pity him.
Yeah.
That,
But
that
then-
was such a good performance. But
yeah.
Kind of like what Kate Blanchett,
Mhm.
Galadriel, was
Mhm.
talking about, like how there is this big toll on Frodo. Because like if he can't save Gollum
No one
/
can.
Smeagol,
Yeah.
then he can't save himself because he will too be corrupted by the
Yeah.
thing that
Yeah.
corrupted Gollum.
And I love that he takes that sage advice from people who do quote
and he
unquote
says
know
that.
better.
He says that I have to believe that I can that you can come back.
because I need to be able to come back.
I thought you
Like-
said he's like he did say that. I do take sage advice from people.
Oh yeah.
What?
But that's, I mean, I could go on the whole 2 hours about favorite parts. We all could. But we can
Easily.
move right along. to-
Favorite characters.
Josh.
I mean, Aragorn's always going to be.
I knew.
It's going to be like
I knew.
automatic. Like, okay, cool. Next row. I really dig Faramir. His whole story. I like the extended
Tragic.
cut. I like the extended cut more specifically because it does go into that, like
Get the context.
the context of his dad's a piece of shit.
His brother stood up for him.
Yeah, his like
His brother, the hero.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, the nice thing about it too is that he's not an arrogant hero, and it kind of shows
Right.
that side of Boromir we don't get to see a whole lot in Fellowship, where he like stands up for the little guy and makes sure everyone.
But
gets
also
credit
that he
for it.
wasn't actually wanting to go.
No,
He was
Yeah.
like, I have to be here with my people.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, oh, you didn't even want to go.
Yeah.
And the reason he does what he does, partly because the ring takes over, but partially because he has to maintain this image for his dad. Like he has to do this thing for his
Yeah.
father.
I think also it has a cool thing where you see the same kind of temptation happen to for Faramir.
Faramir.
Firmer.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't go fully like how it happened with Boromir.
Yeah.
So
Well,
like
because what Sam says to him,
Yeah.
I think really hits Faramir.
it kind of gives almost like a redemption to the Boromir family.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's like, oh, not everyone from Gondor is doomed, you know?
Yeah. And of course, Carl Urban's character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name?
Éomer.
Éomer.
Mhm.
Everyone's name Mer at the end?
Yeah, Mer.
Boromir?
Everyone in
Faramir?
Rohan is Ao something. Theoden, Éowyn,
Well,
Éomer.
Éowyn and Éomer.
Éomer.
I'm Joshamir.
Josh.
Oh, Ao in Rohan.
Did you
Ao.
want- did you want to be Éoman?
Theoden, Éowyn, Éomer.
That can stop anytime.
No
What's
way.
the deal?
Caitlin, say this.
What? Oh yes.
Rohan.
Oh.
So sorry. I'm all done.
Legolas and Gimli are
Caitlin.
tied.
Mhm.
Ah.
They actually did tie.
Good job.
No, wait,
Yeah.
they didn't tie.
No,
Gimli won.
because my
Give-
axe is embedded in his nervous system.
Yeah. Just because of all their interactions, makes them as a
The
pair.
part where he's like, "You couldn't pick a better spot," and he can't see.
What's
over
happening?
And-
What's happening?
And he like trolls him right before the battle's about to start. He's like, "Do you want me to describe it, or
Yeah.
I can get you a box?" And he's like, like just
Watch
laughs
me.
in his face. Yeah, them
Gets all
as a-
excited when the ladders come up.
He's
He's
like,
like,
"Yeah!" Yeah. So them as a collective is probably my favorite. Corny.
So wait, what's their ship name?
I don't.
Gimli-Goss?
I didn't say
No.
I'm shipping them. I do, but I'm not
Legomly.
saying
Legomly?
No.
Legomly?
Lego.
Gimli.
Gimmelis.
Gimolas. Gimolas.
I like
I'm
You
that.
heard it here
I'm
folks,
sure
first,
they're-
folks.
Gimolas.
Gimmelis.
Gimmelas.
I'm so upset.
Excluding Gandalf because number one with a
Gandalf.
bullet.
Yeah.
Even though Gandalf the Grey is still my number one, Gandalf the White's my number two. I guess I could still technically say Gandalf the Grey is my
could.
favorite in this because he's in it, but Gandalf is always my number one. I'd say in this, Aragorn's dope, but like Sam for me has this quality of like his best friend pulls a sword out to his throat.
Yeah.
And he's still like, I'm gonna take care of you.
Oh.
I have a question.
Right? Like that's
Mhm.
hard to me. That is like I'm not even that loyal. If y'all pull a knife on me, that's it. We're gonna have some issues.
Well, I pulled
but, like,
something out on you, but you didn't
That's
weren't mad
not
about
as
it.
much smaller than a knife.
Well, you know, it's just as dangerous. I have a question for
What
you.
are we
Corey.
talking
Yeah.
about?
Lord of the
Knives.
Rings. Lord of
Oh,
the Rings.
Knives.
Lord of-
Because you said like how
Knives.
Frodo is indeed the person that's supposed to have this burden,
Yes.
but like, you know, obviously the way the story's told, like Frodo is the dynamic. Frodo is the one that has to change and learn and all that stuff. But Sam feels like he's like the constant, like he's the
Mhm.
constant light in his life. It almost felt like to me, I was like, what if Sam's held the ring?
You.
Because
Sam's-
would he be even corruptible? Because it felt like I was like, dude, Frodo is like struggle
Here's-
bus.
Here's my opinion on that.
Yeah.
Yes. I think he's more corruptible than Frodo because, like Gandalf, he would want to do so much good with
Good
it,
with it.
but it would, through him would do evil. And Frodo, his whole MO is like, I want to destroy this thing.
Mhm.
His way of in his mind, helping people is not using the ring; it's destroying it.
Mhm.
To everyone else,
It's using it.
it's using it, right? So, for me, the whole dynamic between Frodo and Sam is Sam's whole thing is to be there in Frodo's mind, like, yes, to support him, but also as a reminder of what he's fighting
Just
for.
to keep him human.
Yeah.
It's Sam embodies everything the Shire is throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Even
It's
down
that,
to the
like,
spices.
It's down to the even down to keeping those spices. Like he is that
Roast
constant in your face reminder to Frodo of like, hey, there's a whole town of me's that you're fighting for. Do you know what I mean?
Remember
Yeah.
all the weed? Remember all the beer?
He's that innocence.
Well,
and I love that about him.
And I think this film really does introduce the, dichotomy between that, like Frodo is going down a path and whether he ends up like Gollum or he's going to come out on top and be like Sam.
yeah.
So
And like in his mind, like Galadriel said, it's a lonely road, but Sam refuses to let it be.
Yeah.
Right?
it doesn't have to be.
anyone else, like I said, if you pull a sword out at me and point it at my throat, anyone else is gone or will watch they're going to no longer trust you. But Sam, the whole time, is just like, it's your Sam. Like, remember me. He doesn't give a fuck. He's not going to allow you to do this alone. He almost kills himself in the first film because he's like, I don't intend to lose you. You're my best friend in the whole world. I want to make
Mothership.
sure you're okay.
Fro-wise.
Oh, that's a whole
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
There's
Gosh.
there's a
Oh,
whole.
boy.
I was
thing
gonna go
about
with
that.
Fram.
Fram.
But I think in this film it might be Sam for that reason.
Nice.
I like
That's
that.
fair.
Gimli. Gimli, he's to me the most entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, obvious honorable mention to those three
Yeah.
because they hold
Yeah.
the film together.
Yeah.
It's a little tight across the chest.
The thing about Frodo, he's the young hero who has to learn in the world. And then Aragorn is the Byronic hero who has this sad, dreary broodiness, who is like you're kind of just like sad for.
That's
that-
just so sexy.
yeah, the sad, sexy smolder.
Who does what he has to do?
He does what he has to. He's a martyr. He sacrifices everything that's good in his
yeah,
life.
he ate that food Èowyn made.
Yeah.
He's a martyr.
That fucking
Well,
soggy.
and
And then tries to pour it out,
and then
then
spills it.
turns around and burns his hand, and he's just like,
And then she
Extended
like
also.
stands there and watches him eat. She's like, eat, and he's like,
It's great.
Good.
Another extended scene, by the way.
yeah, oh yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, like, yeah, Aragorn is like kind of like, yeah, he's hero's hero, and Frodo's like the young adventure chat boy. But like Gimli is like my favorite character to just watch.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In purely in the sense of like an entertainment spectacle.
He's not like, it's interesting to have a character that is not only the comic relief, but also one of the most badass characters in the movie.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's a hard balance to find, and with Gimli they nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it doesn't go on too much bathos or anything like that. But also like, it's a character that I don't need to know how he was born. I don't need to know where his future is. I just need to know like what
Well.
he's about.
Yeah.
Well,
Salted
here comes the Hobbit. But anyways, like he,
So good.
He
That's in the
it's
next
good.
one, right?
He's just very entertaining to watch, and I could just you throw him in any situation you'd want to watch it.
Yeah. I will say this, Gimli in Return of the King has some of my favorite lines in the whole film.
oh man. Also that part where Theoden and Aragorn are having like this really intense talk about like we should be going to war, and Gimli's like
He's just chowing
drinking
down.
all the beer, eating all the cheese,
He's like
off his
cheese.
knife.
He's literally eating a piece of cheese, just going, just shaking his head like,
mhm.
yeah, I
Yes.
agree, yeah.
Ooh,
I would be too if I was about to go die in battle. I'd be like, give me all the good
I'm gonna
food.
eat every
Give me
piece of
10
brie.
Well, he's also
burgers.
been running for like days
Yeah.
and days and days.
I forgot.
Twice as many steps as everyone
Actually,
else.
one of my other favorite
That's
moments
true.
is actually the Elvish speak between Aragorn and Legolas.
Oh, yeah.
I really, really like that.
Then I will
That was-
die as one of them.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
Oh,
fuck.
shit.
Everyone's like, wait, whoa, wait,
And
wait,
Legolas
what?
Wait,
is
what
like,
was the sentence right
dude.
before that one?
Yeah.
I
What did
was
he say to
using a
you to
different
make you say
language.
that? Hold
Yeah.
on.
Well, to me, that was like Spanglish. When you hear, like, I got that. I know that meant.
Yeah, I know
knew
that word.
I heard the English.
exactly.
The common
But I
one.
really like that. That was a good dramatic tension moment.
And then
Mhm.
Legolas comes back. He's like, yeah, bro, I'm sorry.
Legolas,
Yeah,
rejoin
weird.
the party.
I got weird. I'm good.
I got
Uh,
weird, bro.
Ollie Ollie Oxenfree.
I gotta give a shout out to my girl, Èowyn.
we all knew.
So here's the
We
thing.
all kind of went, oh.
Here's the thing.
Oh,
It's not just because I have a crush on her.
well, no. I want to say like this. While we're watching it, and then I said the meme that Corey mentioned last time. I am no bro. And then Ollie gets defensive. Fucking Mama Bear is like, you talking about my bae? What's going on? I'm like, no. I was just saying it funny.
So Aragorn is my version of your Gandalf, Corey.
Yeah.
Like that's my forever answer.
So we're going to skip that.
But we're gonna skip that, and I'm gonna go to Èowyn because,
Does she win?
well, and it's interesting because it's a hard answer for me
Oh.
because-
oh boy.
because you get a sense of like what she's going through and what she has to deal with.
She doesn't want to just
Well,
be.
You get to see
Right.
her developmental arc actually
Yeah.
start.
A
Right.
maiden and waiting or whatever. Like she
And
wants
to be fair,
Fight.
she wants to kick
she's
some
my
ass.
favorite character because of Return, because of her in Return of the King.
I am no bro.
But that still kind of merges together for me to be she's my favorite character in Towers as well. But yeah, I just think she's like a badass character and she's fun to watch. And
I think she was very entertaining to watch, to see her being like this sad girl at a castle,
Yeah.
seeing like her entire family like die, and then all of a sudden like later on when things start getting better, like she doesn't like, yeah, I'm happy, things are great. She's like, no, I'm gonna learn how to sword fight.
Right.
I'm gonna like watch out for these people, but also I'm gonna fight with you because I love you.
yeah, and just seeing that like that love story kind of unfold a little bit, you know.
And he's just like, that's cool.
right, get constantly
I know.
like what was I kept saying that to you throughout the movie when we were watching, like at every opportunity, like you're neat too, like
Oh.
you're such a good friend, Èowyn.
She was like, because they love you.
I mean,
and there was that pause,
silence.
and Ollie goes, "You're neat too." It's very
Such a good friend.
painful.
He's like, you're
Oh.
80 and I'm like 28. It's like, yeah. When-
Whoa.
Well, and also, like-
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I have to just say this.
So is he like a gilf?
Very quick. I don't want to think about it. The ring wraiths on the flying birds
Oh.
is my other favorite
Is that a
character.
bird? I thought it was a
Dargon?
dragon.
Whatever the fuck it
A Dargon?
is, I like it. It's cool. It eats stuff.
I like the creature.
I like the creature.
God. I like
Uh,
the monster.
So please continue gushing about Èowyn.
Thank you. This is my time
I know. I'm
to
sorry.
gush
I'm
about
sorry.
Èowyn.
Give me back the mic.
No, I think that's the gist of it. And to me, like, you know, every single character is amazing to watch and stuff like that. But I think she just has, for me, like the story of her, and obviously with a culminating in Return of the King with one of my favorite moments of that movie. I think she's just an awesome part of the film.
Hmm.
Yeah, and like, yeah, her not getting like Aragorn's affection or whatever as much as she wanted to is, yeah, and like she has to deal with like this world's bigger than just Rohan because of this guy's 87 and he's got
Rohan.
an elf girlfriend that's going off to the Undying Lands, and like, holy crap, like
She's
maybe
like,
he's out of
maybe
my
I shouldn't
league.
touch
I'm just
that.
a nurse.
I'm just a handmaiden. No.
Shield.
But no, she gets to start learning her strengths, and that it doesn't, you don't always, you know, the heroes aren't always the ones wielding swords and
Not all
and
heroes wear
front lines.
capes,
Not all heroes wear capes.
but they do wear helmets in this one.
Shout out to Pippin.
So that move us to qualms?
we have
Yeah.
that'd be qualms.
Qualms.
Yeah,
Dare I say qualms?
yeah.
Yeah,
I-
you can say
I have only
That's
one.
fine.
Go ahead.
that I don't have any.
But
No.
no. My only qualm is that I wish that
The credits came in earlier. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I wish it was much shorter. And no, with Gollum / Smeagol, I kind of wish that his change to good was longer in a sense, where because he goes through this, like, it seems like it's a really hard moment for him to have that like battle within himself, and he's like,
Go away. and never-
go away and never come back. And then it's like
never come back.
he's just what? I feel he's just Gollum comes back just so quickly.
Mm.
In a sense, I know that we're talking about like a 5-hour movie, but in a sense of like a dramatic sense, it's like, well, that didn't take much. And I know that he got really wronged. And it's
Is
just
this-
Well, to be fair, he gets the shit beaten out of him all day, every day for a week and a half.
yeah.
It's the fact
Oh.
that
And,
ha-
and
Frodo's
Frodo
fault.
and Sam, well, they don't stop it either,
Yeah.
or
that's
stand
true.
up for him beyond "Don't shoot him."
other than Frodo.
I would have just liked to have seen the Smeagol change.
I think I agree
Longer
too.
in a
I
way.
think I agree with that, and I think length can also be traded off by
More dramatic moments.
more
as-
dramatic moments. So, like maybe if Frodo had saved his life
Yeah.
or something, that
Yeah.
would have been a little bit more impactful.
He
And
technically
believable,
did
perhaps.
from Sam
Yes,
and himself.
I think also,
But I think that's kind of what John's referring to, where like if it's just those smaller moments, then maybe a longer length.
See
of
a little bit
time.
more of the Smeagol character.
But if it's going to be a more
Smeagol's
impactful
side.
moment, then
Yeah.
that can happen to kind of cut back on the time that's needed or
Yeah.
whatever.
I think
because
that,
I just love that dualistic thing about his
Yeah.
fuck.
So I
His
can
character.
see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I think also the tough thing is that you see that it's Gollum to Smeagol to Gollum.
Yeah.
And it happens in one movie versus like
Yeah.
in, like more movies. But
3.5 hour movie.
yeah, but I mean, it's still like within one confine of a movie. The narrative or the character development goes from back forth.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I mean,
Which
I
I
think
don't mind. I guess
Yeah.
I
you notice it.
loved it, and I just wanted to see a little bit more of the
3.5.
Smeagol character.
No.
I don't know.
For
I have
me,
no idea.
the Merry and Pippin stuff was kind of boring.
Yeah.
Like
Really?
a lot of the parts where they're just hanging on Tree Man.
The challenges.
It was just like
The challenge with that is, and I completely understand.
well
It
to
is
me
4 hours and 10 minutes long.
There you go.
Wow.
to me I think what would have been nicer was that if it wasn't so segmented to different parts, because it was like battle Frodo, they're still walking. Battle Frodo, they're still walking.
What didn't help is that they're Ents.
Well, no, I think the Ents
Yeah.
were cool. I loved
yeah.
But then I think, I mean, I understood the characterization of like, we don't care. This is a world that you have to really, and I got that with the slow paced walking.
Right.
But if it was like a longer scene and it had a little bit more about the history of them, like, because you get the history of them, like when they all finally met up
Mhm.
and they were like, we just discussed good morning. Like, that's cool. I loved all that. I loved all that stuff. It's like, well, this isn't your battle, blah, blah,
Oh,
go
the
back.
way they talk is great too.
I
Yeah.
loved
Like
all that
creaking.
stuff, but it was just the get to that part.
Mhm.
Like, that to me, I said like,
I mean,
when-
to be fair, that does feel pretty quick in the theatrical version, but we are
It
watching
does,
a
yeah.
4 hour,
And the
10 minute.
characters, and that's part of it, where it's like it's part of the story that it's taking forever.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
can get that.
and like, I almost felt like it was like slightly making fun of itself when it's like, now
Yeah.
we're walking through the sleepy parts and you're gonna start falling asleep. Like, I'm
you
starting
start
to
falling
fucking fall
asleep, back, like
But, like-
singing the ballads. Yeah.
But then I got it. I understood like what that was for. But then I think the tough thing for me was just kind of like, you just see like kind of the same framing.
Mhm.
And it was just like, oh, we get it. They're moving. And like this thing's like they're going rocking back and forth. And then it's just, you see movement behind the trees. And I was kind of like, I want to know more about him. And I don't really care about the hobbits anymore. But then I really loved how was Pippin, right?
Mhm.
Is the long nosed one.
Yeah.
His character's super developed.
Mhm.
And I really liked that. And I was just like, but it just felt so jarring. It felt like a weird comma between every single like mini act or half act, where I was just like,
Yeah.
I wanted to see more
I
between.
mean, to be fair, that's all one night.
Also, this is not like a qualm, but this is a question. Did Pippin grow, or was it just because of perspective, like, oh, he's developed in the character, and now I feel inferior to him?
no, I think the water actually.
You mean
did
like
grow.
height wise?
Yeah,
No, yeah.
he
physically
actually grew. Okay, I was
Yeah.
just like,
That was part of the thing they talk about when they're talking about that they're on the edge of Fangor Forest. They say the water here made the trees grow,
oh, okay,
even come
okay, okay.
alive.
Yeah,
And so he drinks it, even though Treebeard technically tells him not
tells
to.
him not to.
Got it.
It's another extended scene, and it's
But I like that too, because it goes into their hijinks of like how many
Right.
bread, how many bros, how many,
3-8.
how many bread things did you eat? It's like 4.
Exactly,
So
4.
I'm like, oh, they do things that they're not supposed to, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, those parts really kind of like got me like, oh, whatever. Yeah, I think those are pretty much my bigger qualms. I thought the development kind of with Frodo and Sam, like kind of to Josh's point when he made earlier, it's like it kind of like slowed down a bit, or like I think you said, Ollie, where it's like nothing quote unquote happens, but I did feel like a lot happened with them.
well, yeah.
Like
I mean,
they
yeah, I
got
didn't mean
Gollum
that
part of the
necessarily.
party. You learn
Yeah.
about Gollum. They go travel this giant world, which it was fun because it felt like you have this war, and in order to make this like a Lord of the Rings Middle Earth film, you have to show the war to show like the conflict, but the Merry and Pippin parts of it also showed the fantasy, so it still gave you that sense of wonder.
Yeah.
But then the Frodo and Sam parts just showed like the actual turmoil of between like the
What I
different
meant
sects
was
of people.
Yeah.
specifically what I meant was like Frodo and Sam at the beginning of the movie versus Frodo and Sam at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
It was more of like a heightened version of that,
Yeah, I see what you mean.
as opposed to like a complete shift or anything like that.
yeah.
And that's more relative to like the narrative of a movie. Like if the movie was just Frodo and Sam and nothing else,
Uh-huh.
I think it wouldn't have been as potent or whatever.
Yeah, got you. But I mean, I think really the Sam and Frodo part, to Corey's point, like really highlights the Sam, like
Mhm.
how much Sam is really willing to be there, and then it's reinforced
How
with
much Frodo.
Gandalf how happy he is. But then it also shows like Sam really doesn't trust Gollum. Shows that kind of now there's a dynamic. There's a
Mhm.
3 dynamic instead of just a 2. Like I got your back, and I don't know what to do. It's so heavy.
Yeah, and Gollum playing on Frodo's
sympathy.
Well, not his sympathy, but also his like, I also carried the ring. I know what it's like, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
So
Hmm.
yeah, I think that would be my biggest thing. Is just the end sequences were like,
I get you.
I have one qualm with this film, and it's a very minor one, and it's a
it's a sequel to my favorite one.
it's not so much with the film, it's the book to film.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
don't knock this against the film. I
So
guess
this is
in that
technically
sense.
baggage.
This is baggage of mine. Yes, my only qualm is baggage,
Yeah.
and it has to do with Èowyn. And it kind of ties into the third film as well, because as a character, I like the idea of it. I like where she ends up on the battlefield with the Witch King. I love that, like, I am no man thing. Like, I love it all. My only issue with it is starting in the Two Towers in the book, she is a lot more badass and tough and much more of a feminist. So when that moment comes along in the third film / third book, it's this bigger, like, that's what she's been fucking talking about. Like, yes. She has this moment. I can't remember what book it's in, but basically Aragorn says,
one or two, or two or three.
You can't come with me. It's too dangerous, blah, 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 blah. And she just looks at him and goes, what you mean to say is you can't come because I'm a woman and I belong at home. And like, I wanted to see more of that in the character in the movie. In this one,
it's hinted at.
It's hinted at, but she plays more of that, like, I'm in love with Aragorn. I'm gonna
they
cook him.
They push that a lot more.
And I wish they had. She's a lot colder in it, and like it's said that she was written based, because all of this is written off Tolkien's experience in World War One, right? And they say that she is based off a nurse, an army nurse, who is so like hard. Because think about Èowyn, right? Her whole life, she's been taking care of her uncle, who's being corrupted by Wormtongue, who's also stalking her like a pervert. She's got a brother who doesn't really pay attention to her because he's too busy being one of the riders of Rohan.
Her cousin is in line.
She's been cast aside her whole life, and she's kind of had to deal with her own emotions, right? So in the book, she's a little colder, kind of like this nurse who's just like seen so much death and dealt with so much injury. She's just like, that guy's dead, get him out of here, bring that person here, we're gonna chop off his leg. Like that kind of mentality I wish I had seen more in the character. But again, that's my own baggage bringing that in.
I mean, I not this wasn't too much of a qualm, but like Corey had to kind of explain to me after we watched it, was kind of like, I was like, why is she so infatuated with him, like with Aragorn? Because it felt very Disney movie thing, and the Disney movie thing is the trope is like, I'm marrying the prince. What's his last name? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like you don't know anything about this person yet you're in love with them, other than the fact that he fought with your grandfather.
Yeah,
and then like the king couldn't give a lot of credence, but then like it was kind of, you were saying like, oh, she's so much better in the book. So I was like, I'm giving a lot of leeway to like the book.
Yeah, so in the book, it is. I mean, that struggle is still there, and in the book, more Aragorn is torn more. Like I feel like in the movies, he's very much like, nah, I'm a flirt with you, but like, yeah, Arwen for sure.
It feels like he's interested.
There's not really. There's like, not that struggle. Like I remember reading it and being like, who's he gonna pick? Like
it was more like in the movie, it was more like oh, you're reminding me of my thing with Arwen. Let me reflect on that.
All of a sudden, Aragorn's shirt's button open, and he's got like a hawk on his arm, and then he's got Fabio hair, right?
If any viewers are out there who want to correct me on this or felt differently, please do so. But I remember reading it and being like, I get it. Like she's badass as shit. Like she stood up for herself a lot more.
Who's he gonna give the final rose to? Who's he gonna give the final rose to?
So like that's again my own baggage from the books. I wish they had made her a little stronger. I guess that's what I'm looking for.
I think that's,
and they do that. They come a little closer in that last battle in the third film,
right?
But I wanted more of that throughout leading up to that. Yeah. So that moment was even bigger.
Right.
Yeah. That's about it. That's my only qualm with the film.
Balrog?
It's funny because I was going to say that my qualm isn't really a qualm anymore. Because when I watched the movies for the first time, I hated Èowyn.
Really?
I hated her. I was like, oh my God, you annoy the shit out of me.
Because she's kind of portrayed as dependent.
Yeah, she's portrayed as dependent, and it's like, I know you're stronger.
Well, she's also
this.
saying the words that an independent person would say.
Yeah.
But then the actions aren't necessarily.
Exactly.
Right.
I think that's my issue.
That's what had bothered me, because I was like, you're a tough, like, badass chick who don't need no man, and you're acting like.
The only time I think they showed in this is when she does that like parry with Aragorn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, to that, and I want to be careful not to get into like a feminist discussion about it. Yeah,
please.
But I think that's why I liked it more in the movie, is that she has these beliefs and the way she has raised her life, but she can't help but like fall into temptation or whatever.
And like it's like
from
that
like a big strong hero man,
and it's like that in the book, but she's a little more toe to toe.
Yeah,
with him.
So I was okay with, like, I picked up on that and exactly what I said, but I was okay with it.
Right.
In a weird way.
I just wasn't.
Yeah. I'm okay with you in a weird way.
I'm still not.
But that's cool.
No, and that's fair. I mean,
and I didn't like her at first either.
Yeah.
It was like extended edition, multiple viewings later.
Yeah.
You didn't like her before it was cool?
After Return. I didn't like her before it was cool. No, absolutely not. I was not a Èowyn hipster.
But yeah,
but I guess for me,
that's the only qualm for me.
Yeah. Is that it?
That was it. Sorry, go ahead.
I realized that maybe you weren't done.
Nope.
For me, I don't really have any qualms except for I think a couple moments in the warg fight. I didn't love some of the CGI in it. And I could have done without the fake out death.
Yeah.
For Aragorn.
Yeah.
Which were not in the books.
Took a little tumble off the cliff, but then we wouldn't get that line.
Right. So it has its redeeming
so it's
moments.
all worth it.
And the action is awesome because it's definitely, and I think I know why they included because at that point in the movie you needed some action to break up the talks.
The dramedy.
But also, you compare Aragorn's death to Gandalf's death. Gandalf's death has so much more weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
The
it
way they
leads
did it.
to, again, shout out to my friend Paige's favorite moment where he swings open the doors. I've returned.
What?
The return of
what?
the king. Oh.
Exactly.
Woo, foreshadow.
Yeah. Return of the
The Strider.
Return of the Strider. that's the
Go take a go take a shower.
Also,
Beetleborn.
can I give a shout out to that
2.5.
moment of Gimli getting smashed by a warg, breaking that orc's neck, and then having
Yeah,
another warg
another
fall on
warg.
top of him. Love it.
But yeah, that was really it for me.
Yeah.
Nothing structurally or anything like that.
Tiny little things.
Tiny little things.
So
I feel good about those. Anyone else
yeah.
have anything else they want to add to that?
no.
No, I'm good.
But
I
now
I like the
comes-
movie.
You like the movie?
I like the movie.
Now comes the part then.
It's good.
The rate?
The we must
Right.
rate.
Oh my god.
Do we?
Just see, it feels so wrong and weird.
No, it's not. We got to
I
do
don't
it.
know.
So I give it a 5. I like the movie.
I like the movie.
You don't like the movie. You
Caitlin
really
didn't
like
take
the
a
movie.
second. She just looked us in the eyes and was like, "I'm not wearing hockey pants."
Good, very good.
It's
It stings more.
It was just right in there.
right in the eyes.
Yeah.
5 stars from
Do you
me
like
as
the
well.
quote?
I like the quote.
I like the quote.
5 stars for sure.
5 stars. Yes.
Am I next?
Yep.
Well, technically, I had the most votes, so I should go last.
Yeah, you should go last. Josh.
I've been thinking about this the whole episode, and I'm just like, I know that I had that qualm, but
You shouldn't give it
Despite
a
that-
2.
despite that, I'm gonna say it's a 5.
Yay.
It's not something that I'm like, oh, it really ruins the movie for him. No, I just like if I had to.
It takes it down from like a 6 to a 5.
Yeah, there we go.
Exactly. Fellowship 6.
Ollie, this is your favorite movie. Let's go. 5.
I'm so
Um,
surprised.
I can't remember my Fellowship of the Ring one, but this is a 4.8. And I think I like Fellowship more.
Wait, what's that? Tom's the Grump?
At 4.8.
Wow.
Yeah.
4.8.
That's our
The highest grump.
We didn't do the who's that guess or grump thing.
We
but-
did.
We did.
We
It was
did.
Tom.
Was it?
We get
No,
did
I
it
mean
real
at the
quick.
beginning.
We
Yeah,
did it
we all
very
voted for
quickly.
Tom.
I wasn't here.
Yeah.
You had a fake death.
I
and
like
no-
that we
and
were
were
right,
second.
but he's still like 4.8.
Yeah.
What up?
But no, I'm with Corey. I think I like Fellowship over this more.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But we'll
Like-
see what happens
like
with Return.
This much more. Like
It's
inches.
super
Like you
close.
can't even see the space between my fingers. But it's that much more.
Well, like you mentioned in Fellowship that there's no parts where you're like, God, when is this part over? Or get back to this story.
Mhm.
This one, I had that moment.
Okay.
So like,
Oh, with the Treebeard stuff.
Yeah.
That makes
but like
sense.
with Fellowship, I was like, fuck, what the fuck is going to happen? Damn, that was a really good scene.
Yeah.
Damn, that was some good angles right there.
Yeah.
I also would like to point out that this film does a really good job at redeeming Pip.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I said I think that was like one of my shining moments.
Like,
was his
like
development
from
was
the
so good.
start, like he's being carried on his back. He hears that he saves Mary, right? Please help my friend, whatever. He says I was just
And then he
playing.
puts cold brew down his throat.
P.S. He wasn't fucking playing. He was legit dying.
Yeah.
And then he hears that they smell man flesh, and he's like Aragorn, and bites his pin and throws it on the ground, being like, "Last ditch effort. Here we go."
Mhm.
So like, way to go, with Two Towers.
Shout out to Potatoes. Shout out to
Potatoes.
You Have No Power Here.
They're
Shout
taking
out
the
Taking
Hobbits
eyes
to
to
Isengard. Yeah,
all the memes.
it's all there.
Any other
That's good.
gushies?
I mean, these are fucking
The
blanket.
Lord of the
soundtrack.
Rings. I mean, we can
Lord of the
gush for
G-strings.
hours and
Yeah, like
Man,
yeah,
Lord of
the
the activity
soundtrack
rings.
is
For me,
fucking
The
amazing.
music's so
Soundtrack,
good.
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis.
These films do not look like they were made 17
They
to
do
16
not.
Frodo,
years ago.
Sam, Gandalf, Legolas, Gimli.
I'll say it like this.
Aragorn.
Old
They
Man
do
number
look like
one.
they were
Arwen.
made 17 years ago. It's just that current films look like they shouldn't have been made at all.
Ooh.
Boom. You're like, oh, this
damn.
movie was good, so it must have been from 17 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, to me, it's like you has some of the. I mean, it's not shot on 4K. It's not shot on the best, greatest news camera on IMAX purely. But like,
Film.
there are some movies now that are like shot with like fucking beautiful cameras. I'm like, why the
You
fuck
don't-
was this made?
That's a pure example of like, if you know how to tell a good story, this kind of goes back to our Wes Anderson episode.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you're
Pause this
confident,
episode. Go listen to that.
go listen to that. if you're confident in your filmmaking, you don't need a 4K camera.
Yeah.
Like you can shoot this on a camcorder, and if you are able to tell a good story and have it be visually interesting and visually
And have
purposeful,
talented actors.
and have talented
And sound good.
actors and sound amazing with awesome subwoofer action. Thank you.
Yeah.
Supplied by Josh. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Like, shout
that
out
was
to
an experience.
Fucking Elijah Wood was
Everything.
19.
Yeah.
Elijah Wood.
You have great
God.
talent, great
Oh
set
my God.
decoration. Like
This was Orlando Bloom's like first big film,
Major thing. Yeah.
right? Like these are people who we are now considering like A and B list actors who are just like killing it in this film.
Miranda
Yeah.
Otto,
You got fucking Christopher Lee.
yeah.
Christopher Lee,
Like holy shit.
Like out of his 90
The dude was
other
friends
credits,
with Tolkien.
Carl Urban.
His best friend was Tolkien.
Wait. What?
Christopher
Wait,
Lee?
What?
Yeah. They were best friends.
What?
I would say they're friends. I don't know, best friends.
The way he
friends.
talks about it made it sound like they were besties. And he is the only person that Tolkien gave permission to play Gandalf. And so Lee,
Didn't we
being
say this
like-
last time?
Yeah,
Don't you
we did.
remember that?
Mhm.
Gave permission to be like, yeah,
I forgot all of this
He
information.
gave that
go
to
forth. Go forth, Ian.
I remember hearing that Lee had the part of Gandalf and then
No, but
didn't end up
Tolkien.
doing
He was
it.
basically,
But I didn't know that Tolkien dubbed him Gandalf.
yeah, and also Christopher Lee was like the onset, hey, because
He's
read
like the
books
cons-
over and over and over
consultant.
and over again. Yeah, he was the consultant on the films as
and
well.
another thing, oh god, I hate that I'm forgetting their names, but the two like illustrators for Tolkien back in the day then became the concept artists for this movie.
Nice.
Whoa.
Like huge deal.
Yeah,
They're the ones who designed all the major like cities and all
Rivendell,
the armor, like
Helm's Deep.
Helm's Deep,
Whoa.
all the weapons and stuff like that. Like the original like illustrators for like The Hobbit
Oh.
and like
Yeah,
Lord of the Rings.
Gushing on Carl Urban. I just want to gush on him.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
What business do a man, an elf, and a dwarf have in the
I just
Rittermark?
love him. He's just
No business.
you know his level in all his movies are intense. They're
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
intense. I'm just like fucking Carl Urban, man.
Like
I'm
and as
on
far-
screen.
like,
You spell Carl with a K, you're a gangster.
think of what you will for the new Star Trek movies, but I love him as Bones.
Carl,
Yeah.
not so urban because he's from the streets.
There was a lot of
Oh.
gangster moments in this movie. I would say, like when like Aragorn jumps on people in Helm's Deep fight, when Gimli jumps on people. I'm like gangster.
Well, when
fucking
Legolas pulls
gangster.
the arrow, it's like you'll die before your stroke.
But then
fell.
also the backup archers behind like the frontline archers who were shooting like next
Right
to their
past
ears.
Aragorn.
I'm like gangster moments. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn.
They
that
had
happens
that
in the first one
Fellowship.
with Elrond.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
When the prologue, it just like goes right by his ear and like you see whip and he like even blinks.
Yeah, well, they had air cannons,
Air cannons,
which I thought was brilliant.
baller.
Terrifying.
Because like, yeah, don't just have arrows go by. It would move your fucking hair. It would like
Yeah.
create wind. So
True.
good attention to detail. I think that's what these movies also do really well. Is
Yeah.
attention to detail.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the director's
And
not
then attention to the detail of the detail.
because the director's not too consumed with himself to put himself as a main character of the movie.
well,
He has a very
I s-
humble cameo.
and I've
Kenneth
said, I
Branagh?
said this last time in like broken parts, but like these were the movies, and this was because I saw these like right on the cusp of like high school, college, and like for a long time I wanted because of these movies I wanted to become a filmmaker.
Wow.
And that's evolved since to like just a storyteller, and one of my goals in life is to create a universe that is rich and deep and that I can tell stories in.
Direct
Like
horror.
that's a personal like life goal of mine
Direct some horror.
because of
really
that,
cheap.
because of these three movies, and because of watching these movies, watching the extended editions, watching all the behind the scenes stuff like multiple times over,
Mm-hmm.
and just seeing all the work and effort that went into creating these films. If anybody out there has not seen the documentaries, and if you enjoyed the movies, do yourself a favor. If you're thinking about what I should do, if you're a creative person, don't pause this because you might forget to come back to it. But if you're a creative person at all and you're interested in like art or interested in storytelling and creating universes, go watch the behind the scenes, the full, it's like hours long. They're like the same length
But
as
it's
the
so
movie.
worth it.
But it's super worth it. And they go over like every little bit. You see the actors, you see the concept art, you see them like building the Shire.
Like detail of a detail
It's super
is
in depth.
the light that they use for Galadriel's eyes.
Mhm.
Is they wanted
Like
it to be
Christmas
perfect,
lights?
They
so
put, like,
they
Christmas
used
lights.
Christmas lights.
Mhm.
So it wasn't just like
You'll
one
see
light
every New
source.
Zealander ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a very heartwarming documentary
Yeah.
of them making this because you see
Corey?
like the love that went into it.
What?
So,
It sound like you want to say something.
Oh, I just wanted to throw some trivia out there because I took a note of this the other night and I wanted to share some of the things like the Urukai Urulo kind of thing. kind of touch up based on what you said about Andy Serkis. Like the original job for him was supposed to be 3 weeks of VO. That was how it was pitched to him by his agent. Hey, do you want to go do 3 weeks of VO for these little movies? And his audition was so good that Peter Jackson fought for him to be on set for the 3 years, or I guess 2.5 of those 3 years, and acted out. And they became such good friends that he was the second unit director on a lot of the films and The Hobbit as well.
Second unit, for those who don't know, is one of they do like additional shooting that's not with like the main cast.
Different location or something like that.
The orcs who have black blood, they said if they have black blood, the insides of their mouths can't be pink. So before each take, they had to swish around licorice mouthwash.
Which sounds disgusting to me.
Which sounds awful.
I mean,
that really
I don't like
mouthwash.
black licorice.
It's mouthwash, so you could spit it out. Imagine
but that stuff stays.
Swish around charcoal. It's like, okay, well, that sucks.
So then Andy Serkis came up with a drink he called Golem Juice on set because he had to do that voice for hours and hours and hours and hours. And between each take, he would drink. It was just a straight mixture of honey, lemon, and ginger.
That sounds great for me.
In
It was
water,
hot. It was
and
hot.
he would just mix it up and chug it.
Yeah.
John Rhys Davies had no digital effects done to his voice for Treebeard.
What?
It was all natural, booming voice, the lowest pitch through a wooden megaphone.
Whoa.
Which I thought was really cool because it gave to that like
Josh,
woody.
how much would it cost for you to make a wooden megaphone?
We'll just find one on Amazon.
Okay.
yeah, that sounds.
We're all being
easier.
tree voices.
Yes.
So the scene when Green Wormtongue sees Saruman's army and a tear falls from one of his eyes was not in the script. It was something Brad, who plays Billy in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, can do at will. And he told Peter Jackson, and he was like, "Fucking do it. That sounds great."
Single tear.
Because he hasn't done it in any of the other movies, in any of his other films. So he was like, "Yeah, let's use it. That sounds great." The scene where Shadowfax runs up to
horse
Gandalf, when he whistles and calls for him,
the king of all horses.
that's the first take. Ran straight up to him on the first take, and they were like, "Cut, print. That's it. No more
Cut
takes
the
of that."
check.
Yep.
So that was the only take
Ship it.
of
Check the gate.
of that one. And the last bit, I mean, there's obviously go to IMDb and eat this all up, but my favorite one is that Aragorn or Vigo
Doesn't shower.
doesn't shower
What?
ever.
Yeah.
Hasn't since the first film. No, I'm just kidding. None of that's true. He created such a bond with the horse he used in the movie.
Oh.
He ended up adopting it
I
and
was
taking
still
it home.
stuck on the not showering.
Yeah, I know you were. But he took that horse home and built a stable for it and everything, and that's his horse. So I thought that was great.
Cute.
And then when it died, he ate it.
Yeah, and then he ate it, and he hasn't showered since.
I hate both of you.
Well, I feel complete.
I feel
So
that note as
complete.
well. Yeah.
So
Thank you
very
for listening to
complete.
part 2 of the mega episode series anniversary event. For
How many
you.
big
Like,
words can we use?
subscribe.
I know.
Yeah.
Collaboration, spectacular, director's cut, grandmaster remix, deluxe edition.
Scrumptious anti-disestablishmentarianism.
We did this
Yeah.
because we love each and every one of you that listen to us and share us with your friends and family. Continue to rate us, all that good stuff. Your
Yeah, rate
feedback
us.
and your
Get to your comic
support
Specifically,
is huge, and we wanted to do something special for our 1-year anniversary.
Bingeable.
If anyone
Yeah.
that out there wants to do some fan art of us as the Fellowship, that'd be cool.
That would be
I
amazing.
would love to be Gandalf. I will
Oh.
die. I will literally die if someone drives me as Gandalf. That would be. That's like a. I'll
But
quit.
your hair looks like Frodo, so you're Frodo.
Please don't quit if that happens.
I promise I won't.
will happily
In fact,
take
I
Gimli.
promise not to quit unless
I feel like
Corey, no.
I feel,
draws me as Gandalf.
I feel like I'd be born.
I'm blackmailing our audience.
Bro,
Draw me as Gandalf, or I'm out.
Nah,
Tom
he'll
the
be here.
Urkai.
Tom's there, okay.
I could see that.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
draw a stick figure with curly hair and a wizard hat
I said fans.
and a beard.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm a fan of our show.
How many episodes have you
Also-
listened? None.
Several.
The ones that I'm on.
But yeah, thank you guys. Thanks to our Patreon for supporting us. None of this would be possible without any of you. We wouldn't be here doing this now.
Yes.
Here's
all
to
of the
one more
things.
year.
Let
or
your
at least
friends
the
know
next
about
episode.
it. We're always trying to improve our Patreon to make sure you get more things. We just kind of revamped it recently, a few months back. So check that out. Tell
We
your
really-
friends.
yeah,
Share
a
it
lot
if
of
you
great
can.
content.
If you can't support us, I totally understand. In that boat right now. Financial things happen. something that helps us out that is free to do is share it on your social medias. Tell
Rate
your
the
friends about
show.
it.
Give us a comment.
And
that'd be
talk to us. Like, we can only improve if we know, have a little feedback. So
Have a
let
little
us.
feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell
that's
us who's
our
the-
feedback
Say
song.
that.
Tell us
Have a
who's the
little
most annoying
feedback.
one on the show.
And let
Yeah.
us know what let's do this. Like year one is come to a close or coming to a close. We have one more episode to celebrate it, but let us know what your favorite episode was of the
That'd
year.
be cool.
Your favorite Tom Grunt moment. Your favorite
Tom
Corey
Grunt
Loud
moment.
moment.
What did you enjoy from this year? What would you like to see more of?
How sexy Ollie's voice was.
What was your favorite time I snuck in? I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I literally remember mine. I hate it.
If you forget everything we've said today, remember that everything is found at nerdon.tv. All the socials, the Patreons, the
All of it.
videos,
Social
everything.
security cards.
Written content.
Written content. As we're aiming for daily soon. So.
But most importantly, slip and slide in them DMs. baby.
There it
You know what I'm
is.
saying?
Yep.
Uh,
Twitter, Instagram,
That's for you,
Facebook, all that good stuff.
Everyone
Yep.
just so solemnly like, yeah, Twitter, Instagram. Facebook.
yeah.
at me, baby.
But-
At me. I'm all up in this mic.
You know the drill, Tom. As always.
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.